Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. We're into the good one right now. AFC Win Totals, Division picks, Super Bowl picks, Championship picks, an entire preview of the conference. If you missed the NFC show, give your head a shake, pals. What's wrong with you people out there? But that came out yesterday. You find it in the description. You go to the podcast feed. You can find all of that stuff. But this is the main event. That was just a warm-up because everything that requires hot takes are definitely in the AFC this season. But I got some giveaways for you people out there. If you out there want to get into a draw for $20 DK, I mean, I may even give out 2, 3 winners, who knows? But here's how you do that. Smash the like button for the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and give me your surprise AFC team for 2019. You can also subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast, download the episodes, obviously, even if you listen to them not, just delete them, just download them, then delete them. It counts as a download for me. I'm big on that. Now, you don't need to listen because it's terrible information to begin with. But if you leave a 5-star review, DraftKings handle, something nice about the show. Who doesn't like reading nice things about yourself? You're in a draw for 20 DK bucks, just like me, posting on Instagram. You follow me at the PME. Heart one of them photos that go up there. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. You too will be in a draw for 20 DK dollars. Winners announced every Monday on the Pat Mayo Experience, except for this Monday because I'm away, so it'll be the following Monday. So double the amount of winners that we have. Geoff Fienberg is in studio. Guess who else is in studio with us?
The third member
of the team, her, the coin. It is doing very well right now.
How is that?
Good.
It's still, because it's still defending champion of everything?
It really should be the primary guest on the show. The coin, if people don't know, won the picks pool against the spread last year. So I have a couple.
But if people don't know, the coin doesn't watch the games.
This is true. So I got some other just notifications, giveaways, stuff like that. We're going to be doing the Spread Pick'em show. I hope to release it every Wednesday morning instead of Thursday morning throughout the year this year. So we'll try to schedule that properly because I want to get it out earlier because it's my favorite show to record. I mean, I don't want to throw shade at Sealy. I love recording with Sealy, but this is a fun one where you get to come in and yell at each other. But Gup's Corner, gupscorner.com is running the Super 7 pool again this year. You pick your 7 favorite games against the spread every single week. It's just a giant pool. There were so many people in it last year. We're all going to be in it. We're going to have our picks for it. And everyone out there, you people out there can join it right now. Gupscorner.com. It's called the Super 7. Join the contest. They are legit. I recommend everyone go play it. We'll see you in there. Also, if you want to get in on some fantasy projections, daily fantasy projections, gambling projections, dailyroto.com's optimizer and their system and their content is out of this world good. If you use the promo code THEPME, THEPME, you get yourself off 10% any package that you want to buy, whether it's football, whether it's college football, whether it's the overall package. I recommend everyone go do that. I wouldn't hawk it if I don't use it. Drew and Mike are my pals. I think they do an excellent job. Davis is over there with me. She's kind of wonky now, but I use it. I pay for it, so I'm in on Daily Roto. The PME 10% off.
Whatever Dink is using, I would recommend. And Mike's pretty good also.
And I mean,
Drew just, I don't know, it seems like everything he touches, there's a heavy ticket cash seasonally.
This is true. And Colin Drew's Showdown article is up there as well. So I think we've got that all out of the way. We've announced the 3 primaries of the show. And to bring in the 4th person, he of the hot takes, it is Tim Undergust.
Tim Undergust.
It's not my name.
Do you feel bad that you've been relegated to and Tim Andercuss, if we had opening credits?
No, that's a good spot.
No, that's a bad
Yeah,
spot.
George Wendt was always that on Cheers. And it actually is a good spot to be in.
You are very George
I would
Wendt,
say,
aren't you?
You know what? I'll make the case it's like your fantasy draft order. There are some prime spots, now I guess you could argue if everyone's signed, there's a big 4. But if you're not in one of those ideal prime spots, you almost want the ladder.
Agreed. Always agreed.
So it's almost the same with the credits. Unless you get one of those,
but there's only 4 people on the show. And he gets put behind an inanimate object who's great at picking football games.
I was better than you.
You were better than me, but I'm the host of the show. I get primary billing. The show's named after me. I don't have to be good. I just need to sit here and talk.
This is one of my favorite shows of the year.
AFC win totals?
Yeah, like to do the NFC show, I needed 2 like energy drinks. This is just pure adrenaline.
And it feels like just through osmosis that we just know a lot more about the AFC. I know you guys in particular, but even me, for no real reason, I'm just more invested in these AFC teams.
I wonder why that is, because I've always felt
You
that.
know, we're
And
all invested in
have,
NFC teams.
I even have a really good buddy that like years ago even said like I don't even like watching NFC.
Does that mean you want to play in an AFC only fantasy league?
No, but it was just so funny, from everything to like thinking CBS does a better job, just all of it. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Once the season starts, it all kind of blends. But in terms of my off-season news cycle, yes, my needing to like catch up on the key losses, the key departures was far less in the AFC than the NFC.
I think Tim hit it on the head. Most of the people I know root for some sort of AFC team, so I just have to hear about it all the time. And
That probably
and what the
works
other
too.
teams are up to as well. Like, all right.
Yeah, fair enough.
I do want to let the viewers and listeners know that we're recording this on a Tuesday afternoon. If something changes within the next 2 days before the show is released, well, that fucking sucks. But you can just use the time code and skip forward.
We
Just
can't
skip
be blamed
the
if there are
team.
injuries.
I blamed him. When Jameis Winston like blows out his knee or something like that.
I appreciate anyone new that sticks with us after they heard someone amongst this panel say Jameis Winston for MVP on the NFC show.
But I then said I wasn't going to be my pick.
Yeah, but you wanted credit for it if it happened anyway, because you said, don't forget that. So now you're just making picks that aren't even real picks, but you want credit for your not real picks?
I'm just saying I think he could have that good of a season. Can we talk about the AFC? I'm ready to roll here.
I think it'd
Okay.
be, as you said, fantasy MVP.
Fantasy MVP, maybe. Listen, the Bucks offense should be pretty good. Their defense is so bad, they should score a lot of points. So fantasy-wise, yes. Real life, I'm not so sure about that. Let's dig in to the AFC, though. We're going to start in the North. The Pittsburgh Steelers are up first. The coin says under on 9.5 wins for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The numbers that you see on the screen, the plus 130 next to the 9.5 means that you would get plus 130 for betting the over. All those are set to the overs for the graphics for this show. So obviously the under is a minus bet. Most people are betting the under on the Pittsburgh Steelers this time around. To make the playoffs, they're still minus 120. To win the division, they're plus 190. To win the conference, 10-1. To win the Super Bowl, they are 20-1. Geoff, we'll start with you on this one. No Antonio Brown. He brought his helmet with him. Can't use that. He froze his foot off. Everyone is just expecting Juju to step in and just take over there. I mean, they don't have Le'Veon Bell, and they're thinking about another great year from James Conner. There's talk about Benny Schnell. He might come in and do some work. Jalen Samuel could be used like a Marshall Faulk out of the backfield. But Big Ben getting old, man. And of all those quarterbacks who came in around that time, I know Breeze is still playing. I know Brady is still playing. But you look at Eli, you look at Rivers, and you look at Ben. Like, Ben still might have the most upside of all these guys on a single game basis, but he might be the most decrepit of all of them.
Well, Ben, see, it's hard because guys, I'll say Phillip in particular, and maybe Eli, a side plot to that. Phillip never had legs, so losing them doesn't mean anything. As long as he can dissect pre-snap and has his arm strength and accuracy, he can play like a Kurt Warner. But if he's got to move sideways, he was dead as a rookie, and he'd be dead as a 15th-year pro. Roethlisberger's mobility was always what made him so great. His ability to have an insane, maybe the greatest stat ever was his QB rating after a defender made contact with him. It like flirted with 99. It's absurd. Absurd, because I know quarterbacks, a lot of them, a hand gets on them and they're just down. So I'll give you that. Steelers as a whole, there's a lot, for a team that's always nationally so publicly backed, between the departures you've spoken about, granted one of them seems like a positive, even though they paid $21 million to get rid of Brown, between everyone being down on sort of Pittsburgh and players they lost and in love with Cleveland, for the first time ever, there seems to be a bit of a public chill on Pittsburgh. And I might buy into this over 9.5, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it does seem like they're one of the more stable franchises year after year. Like a bad year for the Steelers, like 8-8.
Yeah,
maybe
no,
7-9.
they'll be perfectly fine.
So they
I
get some
think.
breaks, and all of a sudden they're 11-5, and they're the 2 seed in the AFC. So I'm a bit torn on this one too. Tim, what do you think?
I'm taking the over. I think they're the best team in the division, and I'm going to give them the division. I appreciate what Geoff said about Roethlisberger, but I still think he's perfectly serviceable. They're no worse off at running
He's
back
more
than they were.
serviceable.
Yeah, he is more than
Roethlisberger.
serviceable.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, he's more than serviceable. He's a good quarterback still. The offense is still very, very skilled. There are still playmakers on that defense. Are they perfect? No. But like, you look at them week 1, they're going to probably be, getting a touchdown against the Patriots. I expect them to win week 1. Like, I think this is a better team than people think. And so I think, yeah, Geoff is right that the public are sort of sleeping a bit on the Steelers, and this is the perfect time to step into the breach and take this number and take the over.
I think the upside still remains for short stretches for Roethlisberger to be like peak Roethlisberger. I just worry about him over the course of 16 games.
Absolutely.
That there's going to be, we've even seen it over the past couple of years, that there's just like 3 phone-in games where just he's off and he just doesn't care anymore. I think it really breaks down to if this defense is actually going to be any good. It should be.
Yeah. And we would always say there was no team like the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers, you could almost tell in the first quarter how the game was going to go, whether like you had their A game or their D game.
Do you
And
think
there
that
was
losing
usually no in between.
do you think that losing Antonio Brown might really stunt this offense?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything changes.
Because everyone's projecting it to be basically the same, and they lost the guy who's been the best receiver in football for the past 5 years.
Yeah, but the Steelers of all teams in the NFL do the best job in drafting and scouting wide receivers. So you feel like if there's one team for whom the benefit of the doubt is deserved to figure out who to replace Brown's production, they're going to figure it out. They were 6th overall in offense last year, according to the numbers. Maybe they'd be 10th or 11th, but their defense was 13th. Maybe they'd be around there. Like, they're certainly the most complete team in the division. I'll say that.
We need to acknowledge that, and we'll get there, but Tim has such a hate on for maybe the other team that could be favored in this division that he needs to put
Baltimore.
everything within his soul, everything within him behind Pittsburgh being good as almost a stonewall to the Browns and Baker being successful. You can nibble Baltimore in
the Ravens are good too. The Ravens could definitely win the division.
My point being is he will as well throw everything he has behind Baltimore because those are his hopes.
And we already know he loves the Bengals, so we've already been through that. The big thing, the best bet I think Tim has made so far this year is he bet a group of us that the Browns wouldn't finish 1st or 2nd in this division and gave us odds. That was a good one.
When was the last time I would have lost that bet? I don't know, 15 years ago? Please. Like some of the... What does George Santayana say? Those who do not learn from history's mistakes are doomed to repeat them.
But you make the same picks every year.
Hold on a second. He's such a bullshitter. Because this logic, when put to the Patriots, doesn't work.
Because
they want it. Like the Browns being bad. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I know.
The Browns won't win because they haven't won, but the Patriots, they have won every year, but they won't win again.
Now, Tim has picked the Patriots to not win the AFC East for 12 consecutive seasons. That's where he's at right now with the Patriots. But anyway, back to the Steelers, because I want to finish off on them. I think it's going to be super close. I'm actually going to lean a slight over as well. I think that they do win this division. I think it's close, but I think they're good enough to do it. Where are you leaning here?
Yeah, no, I said the over.
Okay, so
I'm annoyed that all three. I thought I'd come in here as the contrarian, almost picking Pittsburgh to win the division. Although I do like the other really good teams.
Well, let's get to the other really good team in this division, the Cincinnati Bengals. Tim's buddies, 6.5 is the win total, plus 140 to bet that over, 7-1 to make the playoffs, 18-1 to win the division, 66-1 to win the conference, and 125-1 to win the Super Bowl. Tim, you came on the schedule release show in March espousing nothing but love for the Cincinnati Bengals. Are you still on that train?
No, I have to recant, and I hate having to do that. But
I was worried about this.
It's a matter of trying to find where the wins have to fall. And since I think both Pittsburgh and Baltimore are good in this division, I can't possibly also give 7 wins to the Bengals too. I don't think it's there. So as much as I I think there are pieces of them. Their best player is still hurt. Heavens knows what is going on with AJ Green. I don't know. I like Dalton. But then again, I was a big fan of Marvin Jones, and I thought not Marvin Jones, sorry, of Marvin Lewis. I thought he was a good coach. The stats show he was a good coach. Probably the best coach in Bengals history by the numbers. Went to the playoffs a lot of times. So I actually don't know how much better off they are having made the switch from Lewis. It's a different infrastructure. I'm going to say they win 5 or 6 games. I mean, things could break perfectly for them, but I'm on an under, and that bothers me because I usually don't think he's got talent. I know that has talent, but I just don't think he was there this year.
When we did the schedule, I swear to God, you went through the games and had them at least 9 or 10.
I know I did.
Taken 4 games. I was hoping this could be our Tampa 2.0 bet from the other conference. I know. I was really hoping. I'm with Tim. I'm on the under.
I think the world is on the under with this. Is there a chance that new head coach, new system, new life, that maybe they have an offense that isn't like Hugh Jackson influence?
If Dalton's healthy, Dalton's a good quarterback.
I have a crazy comment to make that makes
everyone can be a good quarterback. Dalton's the 19th best quarterback in football? That makes him below average.
This makes me worried because I do agree with Tim on something that is probably a very overall
They're
contrarian.
already down 2 offensive linemen.
Contrarian view. I understand why they fired him, but I do think in preparation and maybe excluding the playoffs, I do think Marvin Lewis is a good coach in terms of teaching technique and getting the team to play to its potential. So I don't know that they'll actually get better, but they absolutely had to make a change there. But I don't know if they have a better coach. I will agree with Tim.
I think that they have a better coach for 2019. That was Marvin Lewis's biggest problem, is that he was coaching like it was still 10 years ago.
Fine.
So
Fair.
you need to upgrade eventually when the numbers change. You're like, oh, we should be doing this.
But this
now.
guy's also Zach Taylor, right? Isn't he from like the handsome tree of
he's handsome Sean McVay tree.
Yeah.
So handsome. Handsome's good for like 3 wins right there. I could see this being a contrarian move to take the over on this. And I mean, I'm shocked Tim isn't, because he hates the Browns. So 0-16 Browns.
I'm not going to pick 0-16. That would be foolish.
All right, well, let's get to the Cleveland Browns. Browns win total is 9.5. You're getting plus 110 to bet the over. So this is about like even money on the over, even money on the under. I think more people are like betting them into the Super Bowl or whatever. They're minus 120 to make the playoffs. They are plus 125 to win the division. They're 7-1 to win the conference, 14-1 to win the Super Bowl. All those odds are pretty ludicrous, to tell you the truth. I don't like the 9.5. I actually think they don't win more than 9.5 games. And I like the Browns. I think they could be a breakout team, but I do see the potential for things going horribly wrong with them as well. That if they finished being an 8-8 team, that's fine. That's an improvement. But 10-6 or better? Like Baltimore's not a write-off here, as Tim said. Like, he's not wrong about that. The Steelers aren't a write-off. I mean, they have a free win against the Jets, so I guess that could, we could just include that right away. But I'm going to take the slight under. I think they finish at 8-8 or 9-7. I hope I'm wrong, because I want to root for the Cleveland Browns, because I love Baker. Who doesn't love Baker? You see the pictures today and him slamming other quarterbacks? Baker's the best.
He's already saying he was taken out of context, and before
he should not walk that back. He should double down on that.
If
he plays in the NFL and he's a quarterback and he thinks he's in the best, you know what everyone else is? He needs to be more like Donovan Bailey when he's talking about Michael Johnson. He's a chicken. They are losers. No one's better than him.
Okay.
That's the attitude you should have if you want to be the best.
Okay. Before I sit back in my recliner and like Buddy in the GIF, just eat the popcorn and enjoy what the next man has to say, I'm kind of with you. As a football fan, I look at that roster, and on paper, to me, it is one of the best in football. They have holes at certain places.
The offensive line is not good.
At linebacker and offensive line, I have concerns, but there are so many great players littered all over that roster. To me, it's going to be a fine line. They can be great, but it can sort of become the in-season reality show of
I hope it
just.
I'll sign up for that
Freddie
right now.
Kitchens,
I want it to be creative.
Like, there's
Beckham's
a lot
off the
of
rails.
big personality and people there that it is a fine line in a man's game of what way it swings. But I wouldn't be shocked if it goes, if they won 6 games, and I'm not shocked if they go 13-3 because I see the paper. With the roster.
Much like I talked about the Rams and to the Chiefs to a certain extent, they can't afford to have many injuries here. Like, I don't know how deep this team is, that if they lose a star or two, they might be absolutely crushed right out of the gate. Like, if I didn't even want to say Beckham, like if Landry goes down in week 1 and then they lose a key to if Miles Jack goes down in week 3, like what does this team look like then? And they're not a very good team. And then it's all on Baker to get them to the playoffs. And this is just a hard division. Like, it's going to be tough. I believe in Baker, though. So I think that he can will them there. I just wouldn't want to bet on it this season. I get why people want to bet him for the Super Bowl, though. He's the best.
I agree with you. Minus, I'm not really buying any of the Super Bowl stuff, but winning a division, hitting that double-digit total, I think that's all in play. I do think, though, people are expecting of a lot of a guy who there's.
He's awesome.
I mean, as a roster, like as one unit, they still have a lot to prove. As individuals, there's so many great players, and you hope it all comes together, and it's so much fun. And they're getting the royal treatment. They play the Titans week 1.
Les Titans?
I'm going to say, Tim, can you confirm that? But I want to say, because my buddy's a big Les Titans fan, he's letting me know that's Nance and Romo getting the call.
Getting Baker, yeah. Until Baker, like, I don't
So
know. If Baker
that probably
tanks,
triggers Tim so
it should
much.
trigger Tim, because everything triggers Tim.
But
are you
yeah.
going over or under?
I'm right with you. I'm on the fence, but I'm gonna. You know what? I'll pick over. But
You know
I
what?
think
I'm
Pittsburgh
changing.
wins a tie.
I'm changing to
tiebreaker
over.
or something.
I'm changing to over. I want the over to happen, so I'm taking
Yeah.
the over. The coin's taking the
I'm
over.
not
You're taking the
I'm
over.
not invest-
I'm taking the over. Tim, why is the under going to hit?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I don't understand how a team that hasn't had a winning record in, I don't know, 15 years. I think it's 2007.
You understand they have different players, right?
Not
This is the guy-
significantly
this is
from
the
even
guy
last
that-
year where they didn't win half their games. Like they traded away a great offensive lineman, and that
To
offensive line
To
pretty
get
spread.
potentially the best receiver in football.
Beckham
Potentially.
is a really good receiver. He is very combustible. That guy runs hot. It'll take 1 or 2 games where he's not getting his due, where you can see him Terrell Owens style walking on the sidelines and screaming at Mayfield. Now Mayfield, I don't think is equipped to handle that. I think he can dish it out. We have seen no evidence that he can take it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I like Chubb. I think he's a fine player. I think the defense has, a great cornerback, and I think there are definitely pieces there. They have an abysmal special teams from last season. I don't know that Kitchens is going to be able to, is in a position to pick the roster in the right way in order to improve that. I mean, I think the hiring of Kitchens was strange to begin with. He doesn't have any head coaching credentials.
I agree with that.
I actually don't.
I think it's likelier
on.
to fail than not. Put it that way.
I mean, would you but realistically though, like if Zach Taylor is going to get a head coaching job or the Jets are going to recycle Adam Gase, why wouldn't you give it to Freddie Kitchens, whose offense was very good in the second half of last year? He clearly knows what to do with Baker.
A team that wants to
them
push
up.
Super Bowl is going to hire guys never even been a coordinator and have all these personalities. I'm just thinking that adds.
This is my point.
that- I'm not
What is so different between Freddie Kitchens being the head coach for this unit for the Cleveland Browns, a lot of guys that he already knows, well liked, and has their respect, and like Nick Nurse becoming the head coach of the Raptors and winning the NBA championship? What's really the difference? I think that's a pretty good comparison.
No, okay, I agree, because yes, he was on the staff, but in the NFL, there's a few more steps that have clearly been blown out of the way when the guy with Mahomes and couldn't win in college is a head coach who just got fired. So I get it. The steps are being blown out, and I appreciate outside of the box thinking or not.
Do you know what the Browns don't want? They don't want to bring in a guy who's like, you know what we're going to do? Run up the gut for the first 2 games. That's what
I wish.
And that's what Freddie Kitchens is not going to do.
They should have gotten Bruce Arians, in my opinion.
Yeah, like Kitchens
Don't
would have been a
need Bruce
fine
Arians.
OC.
Too old.
Like, I think you're missing the point.
And then
here.
Tim would have been real
don't get the
confused
leadership.
as to what to do.
But how do you don't even know anything about this? Baker, by all accounts, is a fantastic leader. People seem to
By
like
all
Freddie
accounts,
Kitchens.
people walk around saying that that's true, even though the evidence suggests
What evidence do you have about this, by the way, besides the fact that you don't like him?
I think he's the
anyone
perfect
with
guy
any
for that
sense
team in the city.
I mean,
Right?
anyone with a sense of social psychology can tell, like in Hamlet, he doth protest too much.
I
Like,
mean,
he's always
I think
trying too hard.
right there, the fact that you're referencing Hamlet on
trying too
this
hard.
AFC Win Total show means maybe you're trying a bit too hard to hate him.
No, it's just I think it's pretty clear to me
That's the winner
that
right
he's
there.
overcompensated. Like I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I think the expectations that have been put upon him are unfair. I think he's exacerbated those expectations by choosing just to embrace unfair realizations. And this team has no depth. And there's also the fact, and it can't be, I know you can't quantify it in statistics, but like the Cleveland Browns, like the Detroit Lions, have a long storied history of a lot of things going wrong and things blowing up. And you ignore those types of things at your
You
peril.
ignore the Ander curse on every single show. So you're willing to believe that there's a curse on some of these teams, but you don't believe in your own curse.
I didn't use the word curse. I just said
then what are you saying? That they have bad juju? Is that what you're saying?
They have a history of bad things and things being unlucky. They had it last year. Just saying, if you're going to go on a limb and say that all things are new, history suggests that
he's just writing his own script.
Yeah.
Because the team that he really likes in this conference also
is a worse version of the Cleveland Browns.
No, but even like above and beyond that, is also as unlucky as any team in his lifetime, I would argue.
The big thing about this, though, and what Tim is saying, that there's unfair expectations on Baker. I don't think there's unfair expectations on Baker.
Talking about him as MVP.
As they should be. He was the first overall pick. And you know what he hasn't done? He's not trying to quell any of these expectations. He's leaning into them. He wants to win. I like it. He doesn't just sit around like that dope in New York being like, I'm on the sidelines. No, he's Baker. He is out there. He's posing in the pictures. He's dripping swag. He's shotgunning beers. If you don't like Baker, you're a coward.
No, that is almost always in life and in sports a recipe for disaster. It is the cool, calm, collected guys who don't go over and above their skis that tend to succeed in this world, not the guys who are nothing but hype and hyping themselves too much. So maybe Baker can break the mold, but certainly he's approaching this season in a way antithetical, I think, to their success. And we'll see. I got my doubts. I picked them with 6 wins and 10 losses. I think things are likelier to go wrong than go right. And certainly the case evidence is on my side.
Do you know what just like he always thinks that the Jets are going to be good, but the best part is Tim is really triggered. The only real reason is because, we'll rehash this on the Custies, but he started calling Baker Broadway Baker and the Jets. Hey, how much he loved Baker Mayfield when he's going to be drafted by the Jets. Then Cleveland moved up, and I never wanted him anyway. He's a bad quarterback. Never wanted Sam Darnold for a second. Now he's the real MVP candidate.
I never said bad quarterback. I never said
you said you ranked him last of that class.
I just said I don't think that he's going to live up to and it's unfair to him in a lot of ways, the hype that he's been given. I think it's that too much has been put upon him. And in a lot of ways, it just makes the likelihood of him crashing and burning greater because the stress is that much higher. Pressure can bust a pipe. And so, I don't know. We'll see. In college, in the biggest moments, he wasn't able to live up to it. And then last year in the pros, his team didn't even have their games.
I like that he's pointing to Baker Mayfield's college, either successes or failures, yet he doesn't want to talk about Sam Darnold, the pick machine.
We can talk about Sam. I'm not putting unrealistic expectations on him. I'm not walking around.
You called him an MVP candidate.
You called him Super Bowl Sam the morning after his first game.
Yeah,
but I'm not calling him to be an MVP.
Well, no, because clearly Jameis is the MVP according to you.
No, the MVP wears powder blue. I don't think it's going to be Jameis.
What is he doing?
He's just trying to kill you. He's trying to give you a heart attack live on the show. The biggest thing here, though, the main reason Tim hates Baker is all that other stuff is that Baker came in at halftime last year on Thursday night. Everyone got their free Bud Lights. Beat the Jets down. It was fantastic.
It's one thing to beat your opponent. It's another to openly show them up on national TV. It was so classless. And that sort of stuff just grinds my gears. The idea that, instead of taking your first win in forever, that you show a little bit of grace and say, you know what, it worked out for us. I'm happy for the city. No, you to dance upon us and show us up. Sort of like, hitting a home run and doing a cartwheel from third base to home plate when your team has lost 34 straight games. It was so annoying. It just is so unsportsmanlike. And for him to be the marshal of that unsportsmanlike parade and be willing, that sort of stuff drives me up the wall. I hate ungentlemanly play. And that
if you hate ungentlemanly play and sportsmanship, why do you even watch the NFL? It's basically just a bunch of people who beat up their wives.
Well, there are some of those terrible people, and we should call them out. But there's a lot of people who treat the game as like, when Barry Sanders scores a touchdown, he hands the ball to the referee. Like, I like that type of leadership.
You have two guys who've done that like over the past 20 years. It's him and LT.
No,
That's basically
no.
it. Everyone
No, there
else
are
is
other
doing
guys.
sack dances. Everyone's. I mean, you hate the team celebrations for touchdowns. I don't like the bad.
People got on my side on that one to the point at the end of the year, people are like, they actually should get rid of these. These are
No,
ugly.
it's not that. It's because they weren't good enough. Every time that there was like a really good one, people freaked out of how great it was. It's just there was a lack of a they should really hire. That should be you have a special teams coordinator, a defensive coordinator. You should have a celebration coordinator.
Isn't that what Jay-Z got hired to do?
I don't know what he got hired to do exactly. Rebrand the image a little bit of the NFL. But I think like hiring a choreographer to teach some celebrations, I'd be all for that. I could use better end zone celebrations and more coordination. The guys in the CFL, actually, it's the one thing they do pretty well. They practice those celebrations.
Oh, yeah.
You know why? Because they know they're scoring touchdowns. I bet you Baker practices because he knows he's scoring touchdowns. Tim.
I'm tired of talking about the Browns. It just bothers me. I've had my say. Let's move on.
Do they
The team
trigger you more than any other team?
No, by God, by goodness, no. This year's hype about them is infuriating, but it should be to any sensible football fan. But no.
See, as far as Tim's concerned, this year will go as he sees, and the hype will be squashed, and it'll never be a thing again. So he's just enduring it this offseason.
So let's say
when they win 5 games, 6 games, and he's like mediocre, it just won't be a thing again. That he has to
it'll be a good test of their mettle. And if they bounce back, that will be something that can be said about them that is positive.
The Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson coming into his first full season. 8.5 wins is where we're at. It's even money to bet the over. Plus 175 to make the playoffs. Plus 260 to win the division. 16 to 1 to win the conference. 33 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. Tim, you can start here on Lamar Jackson. Who you think is better than Baker Mayfield?
Well, it was last year. He led his team to the playoffs. He plays quarterback in a way that no other rookie has played in a very long time. What I like about him is that he is, unlike these other guys, including Darnold for that matter, he has remade the position the way he plays it. He does it his way. Sort of a throwback, but not quite. Athletic and crazy intelligent with the way he can read the field. He's like a perfect mix of what you would want in a modern day quarterback because, of course, nobody runs. So he makes a purpose of running, and there are ways to take advantage of those gaps in the way NFL teams look at things. I really think he is a great quarterback, and I think he could be something really, really special. He was pretty special last year when he had the chance. That Ravens team found a way to eke themselves past a pretty good Steelers team to make the playoffs. Like, that was not an easy run. And so I believe in them, and I believe in what he's doing. And, look at the rest of the Ravens team. They're going to play fantastic defense. They did last year. They're going to play top-notch special teams. They always do under Harbaugh. Very well coached. Are the receivers great? No. The Ravens are going to play a different type of football than the other 31 teams. Like, they say the NFL is a copycat league. What can be said about the Ravens? That they're not copying anybody. They're doing it their way. And that is the type of team you want to get on, I think, and support. So the Ravens are one of my 2 wild cards. I have them at 10-6, and I have them in the playoffs.
Now, I gave up the Ravens as my best bet last year. In the win totals, and they just scraped by through it, so I was happy to cash that one. I'm not buying it this year, though. Like, the Chargers made them look so bad in the playoffs and basically showed you how to beat that offense. That if they return with the same offense that Lamar Jackson played from last year, they're going to be bad. But I think John Harbaugh is an excellent coach. I think this team is very well coached, that we're not going to see so much of that. He's already said that he's not going to run as much, and I believe that he won't run as much. Not to say that he's not going to run, but running like 22 times a game is probably a bit much. And I don't know, as a passer, how good is he? I honestly have no idea.
Well, I watched him a lot in Louisville, and he was a good passer there. So we know he has the skill set.
Tim, this isn't college. As you've already pointed out, because you refuse to think that like Darnold, his pick problem is not something that doesn't translate. You throw picks in college, that's not going to happen in the NFL. But with Lamar Jackson, can he make Is he a running back? Is he a quarterback? Are they going to go like 4 wide, drop him into shotgun, let him spread the field out? I don't know how this offense is going to look, but I do know that they try to run that offense from last year for 16 games. He's not going to hold up because he's going to take a fucking beating the entire season, and teams will just be savvy to it. And what happens when they get down 10-0? They're screwed.
I was really, I don't know. I'm entertained by him. He's making some fun plays.
Great fantasy player.
I'm not buying it either. I just don't think the team around them is better. I agree with a lot of what you said. There is some construct there that will make them competitive inherently. A lot of these division games, always seem like they'll be 3-point games, regardless.
I don't know how great their defense is going to be.
Well, it's downgraded for sure, and I don't think they've done enough to improve the targets for him.
Yeah,
So I
maybe
think they
maybe
can-
Hollywood Brown's great, but like we still haven't seen him in any sort of action. He's coming off of an injury. Miles Boykin's fine, but like if this is what you're going into the season with, like people are like, man, Mark Andrews is looking great. He's going to lead this offense. Like when you have the homeless man's George Kittle as your best target, like that's not good. And then you bring in Mark Ingram to screw your team.
Well, that is, of course, a real problem, and that is an unfortunate black mark against them to have Mark Ingram on your team. But
So
Explain
I'm going under the 8 and like they could be 6-10, 7-9, 8-8. Within the range of outcomes, of course they could be good, 9-7, 10-6, whatever. But I just think it's more likely that they hit the under on this number.
So if I had to guess, it's 7 or 8. So that means under.
Under for you and I, over for Tim and the coin. Tim, you're siding with the coin a lot here.
I think the coin is siding with me. But
Did you guys have a conference before we got on the air where you talked to the coin?
We did. I spoke in his binary.
Okay. Let's go to division winners. I was going to pick the Steelers, but screw that. I'm going to pick the Browns. Browns to win the division.
I'm still going to pick the Steelers, but it's going to be like a game or a tiebreaker.
Tim?
Steelers.
Okay, let's move. Tim, the defending Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots. 11.5 is their win total. It's even money to bet that over to make the playoffs. Minus 1,000 to win this division, minus 100. And you've already given people even odds to say that they won't win the division, which is hilarious. Conference 3-1, Super Bowl 7-1. I'm just going to straight up take the under on 11.5 wins. It's a no bet either way. They could definitely get there, or they could just win 11 games or win 10 games, win this division. And if no one else is going to be like super competitive in the AFC East like usual, then what's the point of going for 14-2? And we always have to have like the 3-week stretch during the season where it's like the Patriots are done. They'll never come back again. Tom Brady should retire. And then at the end of the season, you're looking at them hoisting the Lombardi trophy. Like that's just how this script goes until it doesn't go that way. Tim, I'm going to take a page out of your book that I'm just going to keep writing. And I'll go slight under, but I think that they win the division.
I'm going to go under as well.
I wouldn't
sort
bet,
of
I
for
would
a lot
not
of
bet the under.
yeah,
though.
sort of for a lot of the same reasons you said. Although I do think my Buffalo and the Jets are considerably better, and it's all about to happen in both of those places. I mean that. A bit of an O-line loss, bit of a best pass rusher loss.
Get Josh Gordon back.
Don't make a
Yeah,
big deal.
and that helps. To be fair, I mean, I made snide comments about it, but I mean, Josh Gordon was an important part of that
I don't know if
offense.
he's joking or
No, I'm not. For an offense that has gotten worse by losing Gronkowski, say what you will, when the games
he's
were on
a-
the
he has a
they went.
body.
In games,
For them to go over, you've got to think they were a better team than they were last season, as they only won 11 games. And I think you would have all your work cut out for you trying to argue that they're better than they were last season. That's all. So the under, I think, is the play.
So it's a round of unders. Even the coin agrees. That means they're definitely going to go like 14-2 or 15-1 or something like that. But it's funny. They're a team that really wants to run the ball as much as possible, but in shared similarities between them and the Saints, and really what's kept them a cut above is whatever. Like, if you read Warren Sharp's guide, it really points to the success that a lot of teams have passing to their running backs on first down instead of running. It's not like an upside play where you're looking for an 80-yard bomb, but passing on first down instead of running on first down to those running backs yields like twice as many yards per play. And the Patriots and Saints do that more than any other team in football. So it feels like whatever the next trend is when we look back at next year, you're like, oh, teams should be doing this because X, Y, and Z. The Patriots will be the team that have done that this year, because that's what they're the best at doing. So I don't see any reason to think that's going to stop right now, even though the talent on the team is, the upside for talent here. Even Josh Gordon's not as good as he was in Cleveland. Tom Brady's not as good as he was 4 years ago. Julian Edelman's getting older. They don't have Gronk, but they can figure out a way to piece together this defense, piece together an offensive line. They can generate pressure without guys that can actually edge rush, which is just insane. We saw that in the Super Bowl.
And they can win games.
And they'll be smart.
Yeah.
They'll be well coached. They'll be smart. It's sort of like the advanced version of the Ravens.
I was going to say, just all about the smart thing. There's so many games they win. That entire playoff run last year, man for man, roster for roster, they were not the more talented team, but they won those games Tuesday through Saturday.
Yet we're all going under on them.
Well, that's just different. I think the regular season, they know what they need to do. And
Like,
they
I
know-
feel like last
they've
year,
won
man, I'm
Super
sorry to say
Bowls
this.
winning 11 games plenty of times. So I don't think to your point, I don't think there's a race to 14.
No, like I mean, I know I say this a lot, so don't take it with any seriousness, but like, didn't it seem like last year they just barely got themselves across the finish line again? They just escaped
I don't know.
Kansas.
I don't even want to make any comments.
They
'Cause they
got to
won.
avoid the Saints in the
like-
Super Bowl. Like,
if I owned the rights to my shows from 5 years ago, I would just rewind the tape of Tim saying the exact same thing that
well, I
year.
know, and
You
that's
say
why I
it
said,
every single year.
but don't consider the source. Consider the
Incredible
argument.
those crooks don't let you have your shows.
So, well,
Consider this the
nothing I can
argument
do
we
about it now. So let me ask you this, Tim. I'm going to spin this another way. Are they the greatest team of all time?
Well, what do you mean by greatest team?
Like of any sport, this run of the page, the Belichick, Brady, Patriots. Belichick, the best coach in any sport. Brady, the best player in any sport. Your thoughts?
In professional sports,
Professional sports.
the 60s Celtics are probably better. And of course, the 20s Yankees were better, and the 70s Canadiens were better. Of the last 30 years, sure, I guess you can make. I mean, they've certainly been the most successful. Better is too subjective of a term.
With the type of turnover in the league,
I think
teams can
it's-
fall. It's undisputable. They are the
most
amount of
successful.
Super Bowls that they have gone to, not as a franchise, but as those guys
In a
Yeah,
league
but
that's
those guys really
in-
only consist of a couple
in a
of guys.
league. Fine, that's what I mean, though. But I'm just saying, in a league that just breeds this. Like every year, you try to predict who's going to be great that just hits the wall, and who's going to be 4-12 that goes 12-4, because the league is so conducive to it from free agency to the draft, and year in year out, they are not as talented as the other three teams. I think are their biggest competition to win the conference, and
No,
they'll
they're
go
not,
into
and
the
they weren't
games,
last year. But
and
they
they'll
got
scheme the shit out of those games, and they'll be right in them. And I'm afraid to. I would have a 0.0 confidence to replay the same game again.
Tim, is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback ever?
certainly the most successful ever.
No,
Again,
say,
great-
is he the best ever?
I don't think that's a meaningful question. because
I'm
what-
asking you the question. Answer the fucking question.
Okay,
Don't
but I
fence
think
it.
It's an answerable question.
No,
because
you can
what-
answer it. You're
what
choosing
happened
not to
in the
answer it because you're too scared to say no.
I don't think
You're
it's a
too.
valuable question.
You are a chicken. You are too scared to say no.
Is he the best of his generation?
Is he the best
Absolutely.
ever?
I don't think there is such a thing. I don't think there's such a thing. I don't think to
Imagine
say
being
better than
that big
Johnny
of a
Unitas,
coward.
like to say he's better than
Johnny
Johnny
Unitas.
Unitas. They play almost like two separate positions, and yet they're both quarterbacks in separate types of game. It would be unfair to.
So you're just
either
gonna talk here. You're gonna talk your way out of actually answering a question. How typical of
best-
you not to make a
Yeah,
stand,
the
huh?
best of the last
You make
20
so many bad claims. Why don't you just make a claim on this one? Yes or no?
I don't think it's an answerable question.
It is a very answerable question. Geoff, do you think Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time?
Yes.
I'm going to say no. I don't think that he is. It's pretty easy to do, Tim. Yes or no?
Yeah, but I've said it before. I don't think a best of all time in any sport is possible to say. I think it's a foolish, manufactured concept, and I don't agree with it. I don't think it's serious, and I don't think it can be made serious.
Such a fucking coward. Pick a side.
But it's like talking about golf too. It's the same thing. To compare Bobby Jones and Tiger Woods isn't fair.
No, it is. Tiger Woods is best ever. Clearly, everyone knows that.
I mean, probably not.
like give your head a shake.
Like to say or
No,
compare him and Jack
probably.
Nicklaus.
Yeah, I'm
It's
going to
just
compare them.
no.
Tiger Woods better.
Nicholas was probably better, but
No,
who
that's not
knew?
true. Tiger better.
Nicholas had
Geoff?
such clear competition.
Tiger. It's clearly Tiger.
It's certainly not clearly.
It's
anyway.
very clearly Tiger. The answer is Tiger Woods better than Jack Nicklaus.
Probably not. But
I'm sorry you have so much Jack experience, considering you did all of his best work before you were born. You're very aware of what he was up
which
to.
is what makes me an impossible person, or you, or
You're
Jeff,
just being a fucking coward. Quit being a coward. I think that everyone out there on Twitter should tweet at Tim to stop being a fucking coward. And you get a draw for 20 DK bucks. Or just say mean things. Just answer the fucking question.
I've answered the question.
You haven't answered the question.
But I've answered it the way I'm going to answer it. I don't believe in the greatest of all time. I think it's a silly concept.
Buffalo Bills. If there is one team that is value to win this division, Jeffrey, it is the Buffalo Bills. 6.5 is the win total. -160 to bet that over. 4-1 for the playoffs. 10-1 for the division. 50-1 to win the conference. 100-1 to win the Super Bowl. I am going strong over on the Buffalo Bills. 6.5. They have the best second-year quarterback in the division. They have an excellent defense. I like Sean McDermott as a coach. I think they know what they do well. They stay within themselves, and their pivot is one that can just really break out here. We just scraped the overall potential of what he could do last year, and if he can just harness it. He has bust potential. We all know this. It's very up and down with Josh Allen, but he could be really good. And if he can harness some of that, he could be one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
I'm agreeing with you, and I'm buying fully on the Bills. And I'll say their win total is arguably free money. They're going to crush that over. I believe in that defense. I believe in that coaching staff. This team is going to be so competitive this year. They're going to get their home field advantage back because the team, it's not just going to be the parking lot to be at. It's going to be the place inside the stadium. They'll have half as much fun as they're having in the parking lot because they have all the fun out there. But the fun's coming. It's not an indoor stadium, but the fun's coming inside this year. I mean that. I am jacked. I'm jacked for other young team there as well. But
The Dolphins, I know.
But they're doing it a lot cheaper. While one team is signing 2 free agents and giving them all the money.
How often does that work out?
This
by the way?
team has taken
Signing
a
those
very
high-priced free agents.
Patriot.
Worked okay for the Rams.
This team is
The
taking
Rams grew their actual good players.
this team has taken a Patriots approach, and they've really made some great depth there. People that go really deep inside the film studies have seen some great developments in the preseason with Josh Allen and patience. I know it's easy to do. Everyone's playing a dime, but I'm fired up. I'm fired up about the Buffalo Bills.
So one of the big things here is their offensive line has improved. I think they're going to be able to protect Allen this year. Obviously, the defense is good, but the biggest change that they've made is that, and we saw this a lot with Cam Newton from like year 1 to year 2, is that they tried to surround Cam Newton with all these gigantic bodies, the Kelvin Benjamins of the world, the Devin Funches of the world, the Greg Olsons. And they thought, you know what, if these guys have this huge wingspan, Cam can be wildly inaccurate and he can kind of just chuck it up and they'll go get it. Problem is, those guys aren't any good. Olson's good, but the other two aren't. And when he started becoming more successful, like Cam had the MVP year, but he was incredibly efficient until he got hurt last year. So what do? They brought in a small running back and catch passes. They had Curtis Samuel, who's a gadget player and small, and creates separation. DJ Moore, another player who's on the smaller end but creates separation. So you don't ask Cam to throw into tight windows anymore. You give him guys that are just open. And listen, the Bills' wide receivers aren't great, but John Brown is a smallish, fast receiver who gets open. Cole Beasley is a smallish, fast receiver who gets open 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. And these are the players that they're bringing in. I think that is what is going to help out Josh Allen more than anything. They're not going to ask him to do what he can't do. And they've given him now the right pieces to let his skill set actually succeed. And with these fast guys, there's one thing that Josh Allen can do is throw the ball over those mountains over there.
Let's go. I'm fired up. I'm fired up for the Buffalo Bills.
Let's go, Buffalo. Paul, you fired up? I like it. So Paul's all fired up as a Bills fan. I'm in on the Bills. Tim, you throwing cold water on the Bills, or you pumping their tires as well?
Certainly more of the latter. I don't disagree with much of what was said. I think Buffalo has gotten better. I think they do have a good quarterback. I think they definitely have a home field advantage. I still have some concerns about their pass rush. I don't know how, to thrive in the AFC East, I think you're going to have to get home to the elite quarterbacks that are there. And so I don't know whether Buffalo can do that enough. We'll see. And their secondary, I still have questions.
Plural, elite quarterbacks.
I still have questions about their secondary as well.
Fitzmagic's really good.
But I do think that there's more positive to be said than negative about Buffalo. I think Buffalo is undoubtedly a team on the upswing. I will take the over because I think they'll get to 7 or 8 wins. I think this is a team next year really to be trifled with. This is the type of team in 2020 that could win the conference or the Super Bowl or vie for it anyway. This year, I think, is their step forward year where they really show they really sort of, it's their intermediate season between success and failure. But sometimes those teams make the playoffs. So it wouldn't shock me in the least if Buffalo found a way to make the playoffs, or if things broke a certain way and there were some injuries in Southern New York, that maybe Buffalo wins the division. I think there is value there, even though I don't think it's going to happen.
They're the only New York team, so they truly are New York's team. I do want to throw that out there.
Well, that's clever.
I mean, it's also true. So
I know, but everybody says that like it's lost its luster.
it doesn't though. It seems to trigger.
don't wanna bash Buffalo.
It seems. Why don't you want to? It seems like you really want to bash Buffalo. It seems
No, I
like
don't.
You really seem like you're hedging your bets here.
No, I genuinely think. Listen, if Buffalo has to be the stalking horse that I need to ride, then so be it. I'm fine with it. It's any weapon at hand to get rid of that team in Foxborough.
Quit being a coward. Say what you really mean.
No, I am saying what I mean. I think the Bills are an 8-8 type of team, and I think 6.5 is a bit low. So I think so do the people. That's why it's minus 160 to take the over. It's not hard to imagine this team putting together 7 or 8 or 9 wins. So I'm with them.
All right. Miami Dolphins, let's not spend too much time on this. 5.5 is the win total, plus 140
free
to bet
money,
the over.
under.
9-1 to make the playoffs, 20-1 to win the division, 66-1 to win the conference, Super Bowl, 125-1. Secretly, Tim likes the Dolphins because he likes the Dolphins every single year. He's already said so far. They don't even know who their quarterback is. It doesn't really matter. They're going to be bad.
I have the max.
They're the first pick, right?
Maximum they'll win 2 games. Maximum.
To be
Max.
fair, Geoff said this last year, and
I did. And that's why your head coach is a miracle worker and deserves more respect.
I agree.
He doesn't deserve any respect. He's terrible.
No, he deserves.
He's awful.
No,
he is awful.
No. He took
He's
the
a
worst
bad
team
head
in the.
coach.
He took the worst team in the league and won some football games, and they had a chance to be 500. This team is worse. They don't even have to openly tank. They're that bad. But they're doing it the smart way. I'd rather be what they're going to be than say the Detroit Lions winning 6 games or something.
Coin's going under. I'm going under. Jeff's going under. Tim?
Oh yeah, I'm taking the under. I
should switch to over now.
I don't see 6 wins on the schedule, to be honest with you.
Well, they play the Jets twice, don't they?
They do have a tendency to win that one game at home against the Patriots.
So there's 3 wins.
But I don't know. 3 wins, 5 wins is tough. Unless Rosen becomes instantiated as a starter and he plays to the potential that most of us think he can have, but the weapons just aren't there. I don't think for him to maximize it. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Dolphins to finish.
Where do the Dolphins have a player?
Well, they have Fitzpatrick, who's good for 3 wins.
Where do the Dolphins have a player that you would want?
I like Albert Wilson.
Fine.
I like Albert Wilson quite a bit, actually.
Agreed.
This Preston Williams guy seems like he's all right.
I think Drake is perfectly good.
Drake's already hurt.
But Drake's like
he's already hurt.
He's a nice player, but in the scheme of the NFL, he's a dime a dozen guy.
They have a couple offensive linemen who I think are pretty talented.
Yeah, the one in the Bong video is
Tunsil?
actually really, really good.
I think he's actually a marvelous.
Like that ended up working out for them because he fell and he's actually turned out to be like the top 4 or 5 pick projection guy that he was supposed to be, I guess, that draft season. Okay, yeah, fair enough. The FC have some bodies, and it was the Rosen trade. And who did they draft this year at the very top?
I don't remember. Tim, who did they take?
That is a
You know what? They were 7-9. They weren't even at the top.
Yeah, that's right.
They didn't even. Yeah.
Remember that game they
cares?
beat the Bears with Brock Osweiler?
Oh my God! Yeah,
the world was on the
yeah.
Bears.
Yeah, the world. Yeah.
But that wasn't even their most ridiculous win. When
That's
they
what, this is
No,
what
but
I'm
that
saying.
was
We're
like-
pointing to
yeah.
Gase. You're pointing to Gase like carrying them to like a good record. They won like 4 of the most ridiculous games of all time.
You could take 2 or 3 away from Gase. Winning 4 or 5 there last year to me is a stud.
They drafted a defensive lineman named Wilkins.
From
season.
Clemson. Yeah.
From Clemson, who's actually a good player.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thought I was forgetting about a top 5 pick.
This is the same
But
Adam
they didn't-
Gase who kept playing Frank Gore over Drake year after year after year.
I don't know. Okay, so we'll move on to the Jets. I'm very high on the Jets. It's hard. It comes off as really awkward.
Okay, New York Jets win total 6.5. They are the most bet over on the board of any team in football. You have to lay $185 to win 100 on the over 6.5.
They better clear that
Plus
number.
275.
Jets.
Plus 275 to make the playoffs. 6-1 to win
Free
the
money.
division.
Free money.
40-1 to win the conference.
Less free money.
80-1 to win the Super Bowl. This is the clearest under on the board. They have a team that is... Tim wants to talk about the combustible situation in Cleveland. Talk about this combustible situation. You bring in a terrible coach who's a retread of a team in the division who is terrible, and then they sign a running back to way too much money that coach doesn't even want.
Yeah.
And then you have a quarterback who may have performed a bit over his head last year. Might not be very good.
No, he's a baby. He's a star. I don't
You
buy any of
better
that.
hope he's a stud, because the rest of
He's a
these
star. He's a
jabronis
star.
around
He's
him
a
on the
star.
offense
He's a
aren't
star.
very good.
Offense
he's
is
a
loaded
star.
with
I
talent.
think-
Okay, offense is loaded. We already went through this. You called Robbie Anderson a top 10 receiver in football, and then we went through all the receivers, and he was like the 35th best guy. You also think Jamison Crowder is apparently some guy who stays
Jamison
healthy.
Crowder is so
When
good.
was the last time Jamison Crowder played an entire season, Tim?
2019. That's when it's going to happen.
I don't
son.
have to lay 85 cents to make this verbally on the show, but I'm picking the over.
I'm taking
yeah,
a
the over is
strong under on this.
I
mean,
like
look,
this.
There's a
I li-
reason they're almost 3-1 to win. Like
Uh,
the Bills and Jets are
Darnold-
going to.
Darnold
The defense
made-
is already banged up. You've already cursed the middle linebacker for the
already
year.
has two fantastic players on the front four. Plus, you've got Mosley, who's just a star patrolling the
You
middle
go-
of the field.
Yeah, you go out
The
and get
one-
CJ Mosley, who plays the least valuable position on
The
defense.
one
Smart.
weakness and the thing I'm most scared about is the secondary, and particularly in corner. I'm concerned about that. But we have probably the best safety in football, or at least one of the two or three best in Jamal
Healthy
Adams.
safety.
Yeah, healthy safety.
The defensive line is amazing. They do have some issues, but I for his age, I think Darnold. I'm telling you, when Darnold is 23 or 24, he's going to be.
And I'm petrified.
What he did last year at 20, I'm amazed. He made plays last year. I'm telling you, there's like 4 or 5 guys in the league that can make.
Well, this is it. Yeah.
He is
At
going
20.
to be. He is going to be so good. He's never been coached in his life. In his life, at least once he got to the levels where you're supposed to be coached. Between last year and his days at USC.
And now you're hooking him with a coach whose only success is Peyton Manning was my quarterback.
Okay,
But I'm a
don't know
really
about
good
that.
coach.
And as you know, I mean, I have my own biases pre-draft of last year, but
You just like Darnold because you look like him.
He wasn't the guy that I had ranked. He was my number 1 ranked quarterback in that class. He was the quarterback I wanted. Yes, I do like the Trojans, and I saw him make a lot of mistakes, but I saw ceiling plays that to me was worth everything. And I know it's a completely separate topic. Well, they have their own quarterback now, but the Giants are going to regret forever that draft pick because Darnold is going to be amazing. He's going to be amazing.
This
Pretty much already there.
pretty much already.
See,
there.
I don't see. I hate
Pretty
agreeing.
much already
By
there.
year's end, I think it won't be a conversation. Gase has proven himself to be pretty successful in Miami and to squeeze a lot of juice out of that orange to get the Dolphins to where they were. And it's little guys, right? Like Quincy Noon was a high quality player. Ty Montgomery is like a queen on a chessboard. He's going to be a very effective player. When Herndon comes back from his suspension, Herndon is a very good tight end. I'm
They
terrified
need a
about
lot of players to make big
Are
jumps.
you hearing
I'm
this?
not. No, I'm not.
Are you hearing who he's saying who is good on this
That's
team?
what I mean. Because I could go through the roster of like the Colts, the Chiefs, the Chargers.
Or you could just
the
list the
Patriots.
same 3 players that he just did and say they suck, and you would be right.
No, but I'm just
they
saying,
don't.
like, when I will make the case for those teams being really good, the players that I present will actually be very good.
Yeah. This team's
That was
not
a
making the
fact.
playoffs.
I do think this team is it's the way this league works, though. The talent is there. There's a lot of guys that can. The arrow's going up, man. It's going up fast and big.
I've been looking at hotel rooms in Miami. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think it's
You
going to
are
happen.
such a sick fuck.
I'm not picking them to go to the Super Bowl, but I've got my eyes open.
I mean,
right
I
now.
do a lot of weird things. Like I'll start listening to the hat because I don't do music. But like the Chargers have an over 500 record. You tell me who's playing halftime of the Super Bowl, I'll get to know their music. Miami will be a fabulous location.
It will be. It's a nice place to watch a game.
So how much are we going to bet on the Bills being better than the Jets?
See, I
Well,
love
but
them
see, I don't
both.
want to
I love
because I
them both.
put the-
love
I
them
like
both.
the
You
Bills
just
too.
you just talk it. You think that you are picking the Jets to win this division, correct?
Yeah, but I think the Bills are going to be a game or so behind them. Like, I don't think there's a massive gap.
What
no,
place
I
did the
don't.
Patriots finish?
Yeah.
in?
What place are the Patriots in this world that you live in?
I have them third. I have them at 8 wins and 8 losses. So
Can I
tied with
make
the Bills. Tied with-
can I make a crazy statement? I almost want to not stand on a hill here, or I feel like my hill is standing on enough to say I just want to pick the Patriots not to win the division.
I think the best bet is the Bills 10-1. I think you run this 10 times.
I
they
think
get
that's
lucky
a
enough to win it
reasonable
one.
bet.
The Jets win it -8
But I
times. Give me
think
Bills versus Jets.
I
Give me
almost
money.
want like a combined Bills.
Why?
And Jets.
If you think the Jets are going to be so good,
No, Jeff
put
is
it-
offering you a bet. Why don't
I'm-
you take it from him?
No, I'm not saying I'm betting that. I'm just saying for the purposes of
Jeff wants Bills and
podcast.
Jets, and I'm sure he'll give you the Dolphins as well.
No, I made this mistake.
No, I just want to bet Bills versus Jets straight up. They have the same win total.
So
I want
I'm
even
shocked
money, and
Tim
you think
won't
the
take
Jets.
that.
I
I'm
know.
shocked he won't take that.
Because he's a fucking
'Cause
coward.
He has to be cemented in the flag that he agrees the Bills are on the up, but he has to be cemented in the camp that my team is more on the up than Paul's team.
Paul?
Can we just get an update on the schedule breakdown?
Yes, let's
for
go
the
through the
Bills
games here.
and the Jets.
Let's go
to
through the
see
games.
who gets to the playoffs, what number they need. That's all I'm asking.
So, Tim,
for.
let's go through the Jets schedule, please.
All right. So I don't know. This is like the third. I don't know if people like when we play this game. I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
do. Because it grows.
All right.
Like
I don't
an
even remember what I
organism.
picked last time. Let's do it. Okay. Week 1, Bills. It's at home, so I give that game to the Jets. Week 2, also home. Again, BS that we start with 2 home games. We're a cold weather team that should be playing games in January and December at home where there's an advantage. They give us 2 home games out of the shoot.
The league is screwing them already.
But you won
Anyway.
them both?
Yeah, but he won both the games.
Week 2, we'll give the Jets the win against the Browns. I think we win that game and
I can't
avenge
wait
the
for that
demons of the Bud Light truck from last year. Week 3, of course, on a
Is
short
that prime
week.
time?
Yes, it is Monday Night Football week 2
Amazing.
because the Jets are there. Now, week 3, we come into, of course, they make us play on a short week at the Patriots. Like, we can't be 7 days off each, best on best. That's BS. It's at the Patriots. I'll give the Patriots that game. Bye week 4. Again, nonsense. I forgot that they gave us a bye week in week 4. Like, it's the worst spot to have a bye. They're not even tired. They play 2 of their first damn 3 games at home. And Park Avenue's like, well, we better cool. It's like being at a blackjack table and the players are all winning. So they switch out the dealer to cool things down. That's what the league is doing to us in week 4. Anyway, that's BS. Come out of the bye. Because we're coming out of the bye at Philadelphia, I'll give us a win. So 3-1. Home to the Cowboys, give us a win. Home to the Patriots on a Monday night. The Patriots coming off a Thursday night game, having a couple extra days rest against versus us. We only have the 8 days; they have 11. Again, unfair advantages for the second time against the Patriots. And of course, they make us play them early in the season twice, where injuries can affect the Patriots and attrition and stuff like that as the season goes on. Again, you'd want to tell me about a schedule that is stacked against a particular team, but it's at home. We get the game on Monday night. Then at Jacksonville,
They're so good they've overcome everything to be 5-1.
5-1, yeah. But now he knows that he has them winning too
This
many
is
games. So
like-
he's going to say they're going
yeah.
to lose to Jacksonville now after beating Philly and the Patriots. Yeah.
at
So-
Jacksonville on a short week. I think this Jaguars team is pretty decent. I'm going to take the Jaguars. So it's 5-2. At the Dolphins, 6-2. Home to the Giants, 7-2. At the Skins,
They're the worst team in football. We just talked about this on the NFC show.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
not telling me you're losing to the Skins.
8-2. Home to the Raiders, 9-2.
This team.
At the No. I'm going to change that. Home to the Raiders, 8-3.
No. You
I'm
don't
gonna
believe
give the-
you're gonna say that the Raiders, who are not good, coming across the country for a 1 p.m. Eastern start. That is the
Raiders,
game.
The Raiders historically
That's
have the
bullshit.
Jets.
No. You don't believe that.
No,
You're
I do, so I'm
no,
actually
no,
gonna
you're
give
not.
them-
No, you're not. You're saying this so you don't seem like a lunatic more so
No,
than
I'm
usual.
going to give the Raiders that game. Then the Jets beat the
You're
Bengals.
not allowed. You're not allowed.
Yeah,
You're
that's
not allowed.
outrageous.
I'm going to tell you why you're not allowed. Just like based simple math, the Raiders 4-21 straight up in their last 25 1 p.m. Eastern games. You're
Fair
telling
enough,
me
but
they're
that's
coming
not zero.
cross
Yeah,
country.
but you're
to
telling
beat
you're
your
telling us
Super Bowl
yeah, you're
team?
telling us the 8-2 Jets can't handle the crappy Raiders.
I just think it's the NFL. That's a classic game where the world is on the Jets after winning a bunch of games, and the Raiders knock them out in that game. Bengals at the Bengals next week, we win. Home to the Dolphins, win. At the Ravens in a primetime game. I guess it's a short week at Baltimore. I give Baltimore the game. Home to the Steelers, we need it. We get the game. At the Bills,
The Steelers won't need it.
they may not. They may or they may not, but it's either way. I think the Steelers are going to get it, or we're going to get it. Sorry, and then at the Bills, so that we lose in week 17. So I don't even remember what that gets us to. I lost count.
He has
11?
him at a phony 11-5 because it's really 12-4 because you're just giving.
No,
It's just like when you almost talked yourself into what you have them beating basically every good team, and the only losses they get are against the bad teams.
So they were like the Patriots last year, where they lost 5 games.
So
against
you've
teams
got
that-
the Bills winning 12 games that you can't make this head-to-head.
Yeah,
bet?
no. Let's go through the Bills schedule now, Tim.
Hold on, let me pull it up here.
Watch the fake nonsense coming out of his mouth for this one. Week 1, who do you got?
Well, I picked the Jets already, so Jets get week 1.
Okay.
At the Giants, Buffalo. Home to the Bengals, Buffalo. Home to the Patriots, Buffalo. At the Titans, 3-2. Home to the Dolphins. Home to the Eagles. Home to the Redskins, Bills. At the Browns. Browns have their number year after year. I'm going to take the Browns. At the Dolphins, that's the Bills. Home to the Broncos, Bills. At the Cowboys, Dallas. Home to the Ravens, Buffalo. At the Steelers, Pittsburgh. At the Patriots in a primetime game, Patriots. And then they beat the Jets.
They're 8-8.
So they're 8-8. So you have 4 wins of difference, and yet you won't bet me this straight up. So you have a 12-4 Jets team. No, we're not giving you that fucking Oakland thing. That's ludicrous.
I have Oakland over their number. I think they're actually going to be decent.
No, you don't believe it for a second. We know this. Everyone out there knows that. Everyone listening knows this.
If Oakland weren't in the same division as the Chargers and Chiefs, I'd have them as a playoff team. I think they're going to be special.
So even if it's 3 wins of difference, I'm not asking for juice with this bet.
No, I know you're not. I know what you're trying to do.
What am I trying? I'm trying to bet the Bills to be better than the Jets, and you have the Jets being 3 games better, and you won't make the bet.
The Bills are so much better. You should be giving me some odds. That's what
but you have them projected to be 3 games better.
But you think that the Bills are much better than the Jets.
I do. This is true. So this middles it out. No, you can't. You don't get to come on here and give them 12 wins versus 8 wins, then claim that you want
them
odds.
11 wins.
You're giving them 12 wins, and frankly, I'm shocked it's not 14-2 at this point. So you won't make this bet. So you don't actually believe in the Jets, is what this tells me.
Sure, if you wish to believe that, you go right ahead. I will not be.
You have them winning the division, yet you won't bet anyone against them. Okay, how about Miami? How about Miami to be better than the Jets?
I already have a bet with the Jets and Paul. Like, it's not like I'm not betting on them. I already have a
bet. No,
with Paul.
You don't have it with the Jets. You have Patriots not to win the division.
No, I believe it's Patriots-Jets this time.
Is that true, Paul?
Yeah,
who finishes higher in the division? All right, then if you think the Jets are going to be better than the Patriots, they should be better than the Bills, right?
I still think yes, I gave the Bills 8 wins, but there are potential flips that could go the other way. I have made my stand.
I don't understand this.
Okay, well, it's
do you understand this?
No, I don't understand it, but he's also like on his high horse, not getting bullied into things.
And listen, you also know that if in week 1 the Jets win by 5 and the Patriots lose, that you probably would sucker me into giving you odds. So.
But you won't even make it right now. You called the over free money the playoffs free money.
I wrote right here on my pad, he will try to sucker you into a bet. Don't take the bait. And
they're exactly the same win total.
I suggest you just offer this in the week 1 show. He'll take it.
Give me Dolphins. Dolphins versus Jets. What kind of odds can I get on that?
Oh,
I'll give you 2-1.
2-1. So a 12-win team versus a 2-win team. You're willing to give me 2-1 odds?
A team with a 5.5 win total and a team with a 6.5 win.
Yeah,
total.
but you have said the Dolphins are not going to be very good, and you have the Jets beating their win total by 5 games.
I am giving you more than fair odds.
Those are not more than fair odds.
Yes, they are.
No, they aren't. No, that's actually not true because you have to lay a significant vig to bet the over on the Jets.
Well, at my casino, those are the odds that I put up on the board. You can pass or bet.
I mean, it sounds like you're following Trump as being the only 2 people in the world to run a casino and lose money. So give us a division winner. I believe Geoff and I are both taking the New England Patriots.
Is he? I think he's taking Buffalo.
I'm taking the Jets / Buffalo. But if you
can only pick one of them to win the division.
Okay,
Geoff.
then I'm taking the Patriots.
So you're taking the Patriots to win the division.
If I can't have them both together, then I'm just going to take the Patriots.
Horrible. He won't make the bet with me.
I think you can get that. I think you can stick on him with that.
Now he's talking them up again.
Yeah, I know. You can.
This is just ludicrous.
I would come back to that.
This is your most cowardly show in the history. That's a very fair bet. That is about the fairest bet I've ever offered you.
No, I don't want to bet against Buffalo, to be honest with you. I really don't.
But you want to bet on the Jets. So what you're saying is that you don't think the Jets are any good in reality. No, you're so scared of them. You want to talk them up like they're going to be all so great. You are so fucking terrified that they're going to be 3-13.
No, what I'm terrified is that Buffalo may be even better than I think.
But you don't think they're going to be any good.
And
apparently you know the Jets are going to be good.
If the Jets got some injuries, the league is trying to screw us. Like, I have us overcoming some of the things the league's trying to do to us. But what if we don't? What if we just don't make it? What if Park Avenue's continual bias against
Will that be it? If the Jets aren't good this year, it's the league's fault, not the horrible talent fault?
If they take away touchdowns from us like they did that year against the Patriots, it will be.
You're so triggered. So triggered. You're so triggered and scared you can't even make a very simple wager.
I think he's just not making it out of principle more so than...
No, it's because he's legit terrified that the Jets are going to suck.
No, I'm legit terrified the Bills might be really good.
No, you're not. You're not. You just have them going 8-8.
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
And you basically had to find them fake wins to give them that many. Where you had to find fake losses for the Jets so it wouldn't seem crazy.
That's not true.
NFC South.
AFC
South. That's correct. It's the AFC show. The Indianapolis Colts. 9.5 is the win total, -140 to bet the over. We don't know the status of Andrew Luck as of right now, as we're recording this. He has like a calf or an ankle injury.
He's not expected to practice all week this week that we are recording. This is going to drop on the Friday. He will yet to have practiced. If he's not practicing almost about 8, 9, 10 days' time, he will not play week 1, according to them.
Do you care if he doesn't play week 1?
Well,
like if he doesn't play week 1, when is he going to play?
I like to think this is a minor injury, but they don't want to risk it because
the last time we saw Andrew Luck with a minor injury that was kind of like brushed aside, he missed the entire season.
Yes, this one I think is far less serious just based on where it is in the body. Although it's an ankle, it's a calf.
They won't even tell us what it is.
I know, even Jim Irsay is like, it's a bone. So yeah, it's pretty creepy. That being said,
9.5 -250.
I'm
to
surprised
make the
this is on the board.
It still is for the moment right now. So I guess Vegas might know something that we don't. +120 to win the division, 8 to win the conference, 16 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. I like this team, and if Andrew Luck is completely healthy, they should be really good.
I'll pick the over, assuming he doesn't miss more than like a game and a half.
I'm going under. I'm going under on the Colts. Something about this team now scares me. Although I do think the defense is going to be pretty improved. Not necessarily pretty improved, but I think they were the 11th team on defense by DVOA last year. I think they can breach inside the top 10. They're going to need to because
it's a deep team, great roster.
They're deep at every spot except one. Because if Jacoby Brissett is starting games for you.
Who is?
Not the Chargers. They have Tyrod Taylor.
Easton Stick.
So I'm going under, you're going over?
Yeah.
Tim?
Honestly, I'm terrified. If Luck was healthy, it would be an over. But I think the fact that they're playing this out the way they are makes me suspicious that he's gonna miss a couple games. And in a very competitive division, my goodness, that can make all the difference. So with great trepidation and annoyance, I'm going to pick the under.
I think Tim actually summed that up quite well. I think this division is pretty good. I think all these teams, like the Colts, are the best team at full strength. But if you take away Luck, even for a game or two, that doesn't mean even if they had Luck, they could still lose to the Jags. They could lose to the Texans. Of
course.
The Titans are just weird. I don't know what to make of them. They could be a 3-13 team. They could be 11-5. Like I just have no feel for what they're up to.
But they'll be the Titans. They'll be like 8-8 or
7-9 or something. Yeah. But they beat the Patriots in a weird game last year. They could knock off the Colts in a game in Tennessee. Like that's not out of the realm of possibility. So
that game's week 2.
That game is week 2?
Yeah, it's Chargers. It's at Chargers, at Titans, Falcons. First 3 out of the chute.
Like if Luck's not healthy, that's an 0-3 start potentially.
That's 0-3, and you can basically set the division on fire. I know last year they started 0-4 and made it, but I think the division's even more competitive than it was last year. I think 0-3, you're really behind the 8 ball, obviously.
Yeah, well, they did some nice work within the division last year, which really allowed them.
And they won a consortium of close games that could flip.
But
yeah, you hope that they make their young players get even better.
The one thing about them versus the rest of this division is they have by far the best head coach. Like it's not even close. Like Bill O'Brien's an objectively bad coach.
Oh, he is the worst. No, Bill O'Brien is the worst coach in the NFL. The worst. He actively hurts his team's chances on a weekly basis to win.
I think Matt Patricia is the worst coach, or Adam Gase, one of the two.
Yeah, go ahead, have your fun.
I'm not having my fun.
I don't. You'll be able to have it soon.
What are you just?
You don't want to see me on my high horse. That's what you don't want. You don't want.
Are you kidding me?
We saw your high horse. You beat the Lions on Monday Night Football. Anyone could go find the show. You want to see Tim on his high horse?
Comes on the show and said that they were now the Super Bowl favorites.
Super Bowl Sam, they're here.
Listen, as executive producer of the Pat Mayo Experience, where you're going to be a guest every single week, having the Jets be good is good content for this show. I'm actually secretly rooting for them to be good, just for the entertainment value and the viewers. It'll attract to hear Tim just gloat and gloat and gloat. So when they hit that wall, I just need them to like lose in really devastating fashion, first round of the playoffs, to miss the playoffs. That would be the best case scenario for me and the Jets.
I think every year while teams are playing on Thanksgiving, he notes this on this day next year, the Jets will be clinching their playoff spot.
That's usually
I feel like that's something he actually tweets.
I remember at least tweeting it once. It may have happened more times than that.
I don't know. The Colts, I agree with the head coach, and that's why they're an easy team for me to bet on when Luck's healthy.
Yeah, healthy, they can win the Super Bowl.
Window and trust both coach and quarterback, but there are question marks, and can't lie. I really hope he doesn't play week 1. I got my own problems, so they got to have theirs.
Yeah, so like if you wait a week to bet this and like you're still convinced like even if Luck misses the 3 games, you still think that's going to be fine, they can get to the over
that
with
week
that.
1 game is probably not on the board.
I don't think the week 1 game is on the board. No.
And it was a 3-point spread all summer long.
But they so rarely take win totals off. But they might keep it at
yes,
9.5.
They're like saying, yeah, bet it.
And instead of minus 140 to bet the over, maybe you get it back down to like minus 110
and
or
maybe
even money.
before you printed out this page,
it is on the
ago,
board still, at least at one place.
And now that it's still lingering, it's,
What did you say, Tim?
At least at one place, it is on the board, and it's Chargers by 3 and a hook.
I might have to bet that.
You may have to. I mean, you were going to bet it anyway.
That's the thing. And like, would it drop?
Projections like the Chargers in that game, I mean.
Yeah, we can actually say that now.
I know.
Oh,
I
yeah. You lost me for a second.
Everyone forgets that from last year. I forgot about that from last year that we couldn't talk about spreads. The Texans. Kiki's already out. They're 8.5, plus 110 to bet.
Of course he is. He never plays. That's his thing.
Plus 137 to make the playoffs, plus 220 to win the division, 16 to 1 to win the AFC, 33 to 1 to win the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I sell.
And of all the teams, I mean, I talked about like the Titans. I think they have a very capped upside, but the range of outcomes for the Texans seems
incredible,
so wide. They could be so good.
Hasn't it felt like that for a few years?
Yeah,
though?
and it never comes to fruition.
Because yes, you put the
shoot
talent
themselves
on
in the
paper.
foot.
You think that team has a lot of pieces that they could be.
They still
like,
can't
not
figure
just,
out
like,
Clowney,
really
for
good,
heaven's sake.
That at a ceiling level, that team is dominant. I agree. The Titans hitting their ceiling. They're ultra
11-5.
They'd win a lot of games, but it wouldn't be like the wins wouldn't feel dominant. They'd control the clock and they would do what they do well.
Yeah, Derrick Henry would average like 130
Deshaun
yards
Watson
rushing.
being the man, whipping and jiving, whipping and chucking to.
You don't think he's jiving?
Well, he's driving. Listen, no team knows how to turn a 3rd and 7 facing a 46-yard field goal into 4th and 17, now a 57 unkickable yard field goal.
Then going for it and getting the 4th and 17.
No team is better at that. But yeah, I'm just saying, you see this team playing, everybody having like great years, all those elite players. Yeah, I understand why their ceiling is high, but I'm not believing it.
I think they
This team killed me in Super 7 last year. I picked them or against them like 12 times and got them wrong, I think, every time.
Did they eliminate you in week 1, or was that the Saints?
Saints.
No,
Yeah, it was
that
the
was the Saints.
Tim has been eliminated in week 1 of Survivor 2 consecutive seasons because Saxonville beat them in week 1 2
After
years
having
ago.
had the perfect season the year before that.
Can you please inform the viewers to how much money you won with your perfect season?
I choose to be modest.
How
and
many
not
people was he in a pool with that year?
No one. He
One,
was just,
one guy, right? Himself?
in fairness to him, on the show, he did in like our Survivor
Yeah.
pool on the show, which we didn't bet on because we just make the random.
But it's not
picks
like
every
he
single
didn't
week.
have access to enter.
No, he
Survivor.
played in Survivor pools that had money on the line, and those weren't his picks.
No, my official picks were the picks I made on the show. That's
Yeah,
all
but
it
the
is.
ones that he actually had money on, he was like eliminated in week 2.
Good job,
Well, yeah,
pal.
anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
So,
gonna
I mean,
sell
for the
this
Texans,
team.
the problem, I mean, listen, they have a star quarterback and they have a phenomenal receiver. They haven't figured out this Clowney stuff, and I've been following it closely because there's lots of buzz that Clowney may come to the Jets.
Is that only on Jets message boards that is a rumor?
You know, I hear
Can
that.
they even afford to have him
Do
under
you
the
want to know
salary
where
cap?
I actually hear that is the more likely destination
Dolphins.
is Buffalo.
Buffalo has the
I've
room.
read that as well. I've read the Jets. I've read Buffalo. I have
We only
read.
mentioned the Jets, though.
Yeah.
Just note that.
Would they be 15-1 if they got Clowney?
No, I don't know that he improves them any more in like a half game.
Would
but
they
man,
beat the Raiders?
I'd certainly like to have them rather than not, and so would the Texans. But in the end, I am never going to pick the over on a Bill O'Brien coach team. That would be too frustrating. That would be too maddening. I got nothing against this Texans team. I think, they made the playoffs last year, although they embarrassed themselves in the playoffs. I think they have lots of talent, but I think they're very thin. And so in the end, I think Bill O'Brien's incompetence is enough for me to back the under.
All right, I'm going to go slight over. Me and the coin are on the same page with this. You and Geoff are both on the under. You know what Tim said?
I do believe their ceiling could be awesome, though.
Well,
Agreed.
Here's the thing. Remember what Tim said about Jameis Winston and being the MVP? Like, Deshaun Watson's a far better bet to be the MVP than Jameis Winston is.
Wouldn't shock me.
That's well said. I'll
Like,
buy that. I'll buy that.
Everything
take.
that Tim talked about, and yes, the offense might be like all right with Tampa, but
there's the defense.
if they're going 6-10 and he threw 5,000 yards, he's not the MVP.
Yeah, Houston can win 12 games and win a division. And
They have a defense that at its peak could be really good. I think the trade doesn't make sense because I feel like they gave up too much because picks are a bit more valuable than getting Duke Johnson back. But losing Kiki and having that piece in Duke Johnson in the backfield to split out wide and just give you a different look than just Lamar Miller running the ball up the gut every single time, I do think that could bring because when Kiki played last year, he was very valuable to that offense and just getting attention away from DeAndre Hopkins. So I think that could be a nice move on them. The Jags. Saxonville, Tim. You have come back around on Saxonville.
My division champion.
They want to be. I think I'm going to make this very, very airtight here for why I'm taking the over on Saxonville as well. I think they had a down year last year. I think defenses by year to year, they can yo-yo a bit. There's a lot of guys playing for some money on that defense. Very highly motivated to have a good defense once again. But the biggest thing that you cannot overlook, and the win total is 8.5, and it's plus 130. I will probably be betting Jacksonville at plus 130 over 8.5 to make the playoffs. Plus 225 to win the division. Plus 375, 16-1, 33-1 to win the Super Bowl. I'm not going to do that, but how many wins is getting Nick Foles over Blake Bortles worth? 5?
I was going to say 2 to 3.
I think this team can be very good. So we all sort of
they
agree.
Have competency. Not that I think that Nick Foles is particularly great.
But I think for this roster, it's a nice addition, and they can win a lot of the games that they didn't.
Just the piece they need. A Super Bowl champion who's competent, who's quality, who knows how not to make the mistakes that'll kill you. I mean, listen, everywhere else is stacked. Like Pat said, people are desperately trying for contracts. There's very few holes on this team. The luck stuff, of course, looms large because if luck is healthy, then the Jaguars are in tough because I don't think they could beat the Colts in a shootout type of game. But I'm not going to disparage them because I think this is a darn good team. This is a team that's, I think it's going to make the playoffs and will be forced to be reckoned with in the playoffs. So that's where I am going.
Yeah, I just think that having that upgrade at the most important position from a guy who is god awful to a guy who's okay, that's such a step up.
Yeah,
I'm
with you.
That's going to make all the difference.
I'm buying it.
The coin is not a believer though. The coin is taking.
Yeah, but the coin doesn't watch the games.
But the coin is right more than you are.
Was. We'll see.
Okay. Tennessee Titans.
Under nothing.
Coach Vrabel said he'd give his dick to win a Super Bowl.
He already won a Super Bowl.
Like as a guest coach of the Titans.
So did he give his dick the first time? Is that why he's playing with house money now?
I don't know. I like
the eunuch, Mike Vrabel. He's the Varys of the NFL.
I'm usually quite high on the Titans, but I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of a depression in talent, even though
I like that bag of sunflower seeds next to their helmet better.
They brought in Hump Daddy.
I don't think that you have the coordination for sunflower seeds. I'm not going to lie to you.
I
feel like that would just be a gigantic choking hazard for you.
No, well, you know what? I don't. You know what? Let's move on.
Have you ever actually used?
No,
or eaten sunflower seeds?
I just chew on them and spit them out.
Yeah, you don't have the coordination to eat the seeds, do you?
No, I just chew on them and spit them out.
See, the things that I know about my good friend Tim.
Again, the Titans. I was always such a fan of their roster, thinking like 52 guys, they're great, and they're just missing quarterback. I'm not so high.
Now they have a receiver that can play a quarterback.
Yeah,
I actually
got
kind of like
Daddy, and what they brought in Vinovich, and they brought in Butler. I don't know. I'm not.
They
buying.
drafted a receiver in the first round.
They
which
lost. They lost their pass rusher. Buddy suspended on the line. I know they signed Cam Wake. Honestly, I think they're the team I like the least.
They're the team I like the least too, but as we kind of say about the Titans,
to me, Tannehill's as good as the starter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think Tannehill's better than Mariota, and they should probably play Tannehill as the starter.
Mariota.
So I'm very cold on this team. When normally I'm kind of buying into the breaks going their way.
So
The problem with them this year is the same problem I had with them last year. They don't have any stars. They don't have any big game breakers, so they can't win the Super Bowl.
Who would you say their best player is in the picture of the league?
Oof.
Because
I
it's
don't
an
know.
easy
Derrick
answer.
Henry?
What?
Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry may not even be the best running back on this team.
Did you just say Derrick Henry is their best player in relation to
At
the
his
league, as
position.
in that's the guy who every team in the league would want?
I don't know if there is. I mean, Malcolm
It's the
Butler. I
safety,
suppose.
Bird.
Bird, Jerry's Bird, Malcolm Butler.
Yeah,
I guess
Jarrell
that-
Casey. No, Bird. I don't remember his first name, but he's paid like a superstar. He's a
Childius
superstar.
Bird?
Yeah.
So
BYRD.
Yeah, he's Coco Beware. He's the Birdman. I think Coco's back there.
But yes, I agree. It feels like there's
No,
a
but
talent
like the thing that, and you kind of hit on it, it's the quarterback and really the receivers too, although they got Tim's buddy Hump Daddy. Hump Daddy never
I
vomits.
like Hump Daddy.
Of course you do. Here's the thing though. Like if you look at all three levels of the defense, you look at the line, you look at the linebackers, you look at the secondary, they're all really, I would say really good. They're all good. They're all average to slightly above average. You look at the offensive line, above average. You look at the receivers, they're okay. They're not great, but that could be a product of not having a very good quarterback. The running backs, they're good. The tight ends, Delaney Walker's back. He's old, but he's still one of the better receiving tight ends in the league. It just all focuses on the quarterback. That if Mariota-san cannot be awesome and Tannehill we know is not awesome, like where's this team going?
There's only one type of game script in which they can win the game.
Yeah, the Derrick Henry 80-yard run in the first quarter, and then they're playing from ahead and they run the ball the entire game.
Right? So, you know, and they're
they
always
will
about...
knock off teams that are better than them throughout the course of the year, and
That's
then, and then they will lose to teams who are god-awful.
Sure. And then
So,
they'll make
under.
some
Good luck
ridiculous...
picking them out week to week. Exactly.
Division winners. I'm going to take the Texans to win the division.
I'll take the Colts, but God forbid, I mean, if the season starts and it's like really bad news, I would go with Jacksonville.
And Tim, you're taking Jacksonville?
I am.
All right. We're almost to the second main event here, but we'll start in the AFC West with the Kansas City Chiefs, with the reigning MVP, Patrick Mahomes. 10.5 is the win total. Minus 350 to make the playoffs. Minus 160 to win the division. Plus 375 to win the AFC. And 8-1 to win the Super Bowl. Did you know we play in a keeper league in fantasy? And Tim drafted Patrick Mahomes last year. And we have a rule in our keeper league that if you don't play a player at all during the season, they don't lose their one round of eligibility, and it doesn't count for a year in the 3 years. So Tim didn't play Patrick Mahomes on his fantasy team last year.
Wouldn't have made a difference. I had Aaron Rodgers. It would have given me one extra win, and it was in week 1 when no one would have ever started him against Rodgers. So it wouldn't have made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, you can prove. I mean, that can be proven. Like you can do it, but that still seems pretty.
Oh, well, we have a question from the
Pretty
audience.
silly.
Yes, sir.
Mahomes scored like 100 points more than anybody else in the league in fantasy points.
It's kind of an unfathomable.
So
take
how
that
could
it
you
was only
not?
one game.
He said that it wouldn't have made any difference.
Said one game, I
Exactly.
think.
I know. I understand that, but we went
gave up
through it with a
100
friend of mine
points.
who did not believe me, and we went through, and the difference in my wins and losses were not advantage except enough in week 1 for it to switch a win and loss, and I finished 2 games
I
back.
believe, as crazy as it seems, you can work it out. It's a simple.
Oh, no,
it's not hard to figure
No,
out.
I agree, but this is also Tim claiming that his team was good last year. So clearly it wasn't.
All right.
Okay, fair.
No, it wasn't all right. If it was all right and you had a guy who scored 200 more points than your starting quarterback that you could have played that was on your team, you would have won more than one game if your team was any good whatsoever.
Yeah, it's gonna be good this year. I have some pretty stalwart keepers.
Who are your keepers besides Mahomes?
Mahomes, Bell, Terry Cohen.
What round for Le'Veon Bell?
What about the guy on the Bears,
the-
Cohen?
last pick
That
in the
guy?
first.
Yeah, he has Ice Cream Cohen, the Hebrew
Eric
Hammer.
Cohen in the 14th or 15th round, who's a great keep, and Robbie Anderson, I think, in the 8th. So that's a pretty
Yeah.
decent.
Yeah, that's a great start. You have two bench
And
guys.
No, in a 14 team
You have
league.
two bench guys and the best quarterback, and Le'Veon Bell who probably stinks.
In a 14 team league, those guys are starters on anybody's team, and of course Bell and Mahomes. So I'm feeling pretty good about things as we go into the draft.
I just made a trade today. I now have the 1st and 4th picks in the draft. And all I had to give up was your boy, Mike Williams, in my 2nd round pick.
You want to know what I think?
What?
I think you're going to blow those picks.
Oh, good. That is the best news that I could actually hear. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Okay.
You're just reverse cursing me. The last time Tim told me I was going to blow my picks, I went undefeated and won the jackal.
I had the first pick last year and took Bell, so I hope that the first pick treats you poorly as well.
What a jerk.
I know.
I want to win. I'm
Sick.
tired of it. I won the first 2 years. I almost won a couple
No
years
one
ago.
cares.
He hasn't won in over a decade yet. He's like, I'm really good at
That's
this
actually
league.
what I care about.
Yeah. The Chiefs. Resident AFC West expert Geoff Fienberg.
Over.
For sure?
Yeah. How can it
Are
not?
they better than they were last year?
Maybe not, but even you take some regression, they'll be fine. They're great.
I think people don't understand the regression thing because we talked about this as it pertains to Patrick Mahomes. Because almost every fantasy analyst is telling people out there who are just kind of like, hey, what's the deal, Mahomes?
Yeah, drop him 11 touchdowns. He's still the freaking best.
That's the whole point. Like, people are like,
but-
you think that Mahomes is going to suck? I don't think
But
Mahomes is
wins
going to
and
suck.
losses
The fact-
is a little different than fantasy in terms of taking away some touchdowns.
Sure, but they were winning a lot of these games by a lot of points.
But even when they needed the magic, like Baltimore, or you can name 100 times, they seem to have found.
But
it,
if you bring Mahomes from 50 touchdown passes to 39 touchdown passes, he still might lead the league in touchdown passes. And that's still good for the Chiefs.
I doubt it at 39. He won't even lead the division.
well, Jameis is gonna have like 47.
Did anyone else have more than
I think
40?
someone had 41?
Did Luck have 41 last season?
Anyhow, it's hard. The roster is there are holes, but the good on this team
Is so good.
Can really make up for it. The league, I don't know the schedule. Something I probably should have looked up. But come on, I mean, to send anyone there at nighttime is essentially a sacrificial lamb. Unless you man up. But I don't need no more. Now they're sending us to Mexico to play these guys.
Oh,
I
maybe
don't
that
know.
game will get canceled again.
That could be the game that Derwin's back for, but who knows?
Do you think you'd want to play him on the field that they couldn't even use last year? First game back from injury? Yeah, you might want to sit that one out.
Yeah, you're probably right. They're good. They're fine. They're so well coached. They're gonna be really good. I have them winning 11 games at least. So I would say they're making the over. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the over of 10.5 for the Chiefs as well. Tim?
I will say, hold on. As a Charger fan, I'm not allowed to have an opinion on players who allegedly beat their children because I'm a Charger fan. I also want to say, it's okay. I don't have to speak on the issue. There's only one fan base in the league who thinks the league has done right by this guy and their shield. There's only one. So don't just take it out on me because I'm a Charger fan. Go ask Lion fan how he feels or what he thinks should happen.
Well,
Disgusting, but whatever. I'm a believer in water finding its level and karma in the hardest ways. This guy won't last. He's too stupid in real life to last.
he's very fast on the football field.
That'll work. That works very well. There is no one to cover him
And they have
on my team.
They also have everyone's favorite caveman, B. Cole, hard man, who's also incredibly fast.
But yeah, this team's got nothing to worry about. This is one of those situations where it's like pinch me in January because that's when it'll be important.
All right. So Tim, it's a round of overs for Geoff, myself, and LeCoin. Who do you got? What do you got?
The most tepid of overs because I have them at 11 wins and a wild card team.
We ready for the main event?
No, this guy he's just ruined it.
So
He's already ruined it. Like he's got his MVP battle between Phillip Rivers and Jameis Winston.
the Los Angeles Chargers, no longer San Diego. I heard that. 9.5 wins is their win total. Minus 140 to bet that over. Minus 200 to make the playoffs. Plus 190 to win the division. 7-1 to win the conference. 14-1 to win the Super
Which
Bowl.
hasn't moved since the injury because I haven't bet it yet.
Since?
And I've been on fire on the other sport, and I want to make my peace because I've seen what friends have had to pay to get all their Raptors championship gear they want, and that's why I make my future. So it's just an insurance on the thousands in merch that I'll have to buy. And my trip to Miami to take Tim's hotel room.
When we did the show in March when the schedule was released, Tim, I believe, had the Chargers going 13-3, and he said they would win the Super Bowl. Since, things have not gone well for the Chargers. So, Melvin Gordon he's gone. Yeah, he might not even play this year. Who
That's
knows
a
what
lie.
He's doing.
He's not that stupid.
He's sitting at home smoking weed right now.
He can't be that stupid.
He's currently off the board.
Listen, he's sad that the 8th man on an NBA team makes a lot of money.
Yeah, well, then maybe he should have played basketball.
So exactly, learn
instead of
how to
showing me
shoot.
his social insurance number.
My problem with him is whatever.
I forgot about that.
He did. Yeah, you were there.
I was. I forgot he did that till you just mentioned it. My goodness.
And you had to tell him that's not a good idea.
Yeah, I was like, you don't.
You
wanna,
didn't like know that. You had to inform him that's not smart.
Yeah, like you don't want to be showing random people your number.
So
man.
maybe he thinks he gets to be a free agent if he sits out the whole year.
Maybe.
Because that's the only thing that makes sense.
I think he put that number 3 on the back of his jersey. When he was just Melvin Gordon, he was a very humble individual. As soon as he became Melvin Gordon III, Geoff, diva, all of a sudden. So that happened. Melvin Gordon is sitting out. You lose the best safety in the league for
Amongst them.
question mark amount of time. Maybe he's back by week 10, 11, or 12.
Okay, yeah, no, here's the reality. I think he's better than like people perceive him to be. Like I was blown away by what happened last year.
Of course you were.
No, but I never see, and I get the Chargers didn't have that type of player, but I watched the other guys play, and they have their, just like you see in those NFL films things or whatever of Brady and Belichick, like living in fear of Ed Reed. This guy was my only hope to Mahomes, and I was still losing the battle because QB can do more. He can throw to someone else, throw to the other side of the field. But this guy was my like linchpin to be able to do it. He played safety. He played corner. He played outside linebacker. He played edge rusher. Like the guy played position after position. We could do so many exotic things. That is all off the table. Now we will rely on just the fundamentals of getting to the quarterback quickly, which we can still do very well, right?
So, again, on the offensive side of the ball, Russell Okun
Almost died.
Heard that Tim thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl, and he's like, my heart stopped working.
If he wasn't like an NFL player who needed like regular like
Checkups?
physicals,
He'd probably be dead.
he might be dead. Or like in a very serious.
So what's
like,
his status for the year?
He's supposed to be back.
Like right away or at some point? Or like I haven't actually heard any follow-up to this. I would assume he's not going to play until he's fully cleared.
Yeah, but it seems like the recovery is going well.
Does this mean he can't play at Denver?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, maybe. Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that altitude. So things have not been going well for the Chargers.
Keenan finally practiced today.
Oh yeah, he's missed the entire preseason. He's not
He
going
will
to play
not
a game.
play in the preseason, but he's out practicing. We can't just. Yeah, things have gone horribly wrong since Tim picked us to win the Super Bowl. I spent pretty much my entire summer with like a glow that could not be removed. It's so infatuated.
You still have it.
No, it's kind of
still
gone.
no, you still
you
have
were
it.
golfing with me.
You were very bummed out.
I felt like we lost a playoff game. Like I woke up like sad like this week, even like with winning lots of money in golf. I like woke up thinking we had lost a playoff game, like kick in the stomach. So this is bad. But we went from being like a defense that can control
like missing a 60, a 30-yard
This
field
has
goal.
gone from
Let the Jets
my
win.
excitement, though. You're right. It's just gone from me thinking our defense will win every single play all season to thinking like,
maybe
we'll be
they're
fine.
not all that great.
No, they're fine. They're fine.
They're
They go
fine. They're league average. Yeah.
They're better than league average.
No, they were 9th last year by DVOA. I bet you they'd be 16th.
But they didn't have both. But yeah, both. Like, we could put pressure. We could do the things that are
I
important.
mean, if there's too much pressure on Bosa's foot, maybe he sits out.
we
I don't want to play no more.
The pressure caused up front can make a lot of guys at the back play better. There's no replacing Derwin James. It is our deepest position. We are deep there.
But the young kid they drafted in the first round apparently is just a stud from what I can see.
Oh yeah, Tiller. Well, you just like him because he's from Notre Dame.
Yeah,
but yes, they
of
drafted
course.
a defensive lineman.
He's a
that's
very
been
lovely player.
playing well. Thomas Davis. It's so cool to see the Walter Payton Man of the Year patch on my powders. Full-time powders.
Which they're now going to full-time home.
Full-time. You tell me that's not worth like a game and a half?
I mean, they have to play at that awful stadium, so they have no home games.
Yeah, but we want whatever. This team, it's a resilient bunch. I've been kicked in the nuts though. I'm down. I don't like that. I need a bigger number to win the Super Bowl.
So 9.5, over or under?
Oh, they'll be fine.
Tim?
They'll go over.
Clear over for you. How many games did the Chargers win, Tim?
12 or 13, I think.
Are they the 1 seed in the AFC?
I do think so, yes.
Are they still your Super Bowl champions?
They are indeed. I think Rivers is going to win MVP. I think he's going to have 40-plus touchdowns. I think Keenan Allen's going to have an amazing season. I think Eckler, if Gordon doesn't play, Eckler is going to be a Pro Bowler. I think the defense is. I think Bosa's going to be a Pro Bowler. I think the rookie that they drafted he's going to be a Pro Bowler. James gets back. Soon he'll get back when he's right. He'll be fine. And they end the year against the Chiefs. That will be the Sunday night primetime games. I think they'll probably both be like 11-4 going into that game.
Because couldn't CBS not give that up if that actually was important?
It's week 17. They have no. They can't.
They
stop
have no
them.
blocks. They have no blocks.
No, NBC gets their choice of games they want it. I think that might be for the
I don't
division.
know. Can I ask you a question? Have you seen Phillip this summer?
Yeah.
Does he not look like noticeably like in the best shape you've ever seen this guy? There's definition.
The only thing that I've seen from Phillip Rivers that he called Tom Brady not the best quarterback of all time today.
I saw him and Hunter Henry meet up on vacation and throw the ball around.
We have Hunter Henry back. Oh, baby.
Maybe.
That makes a difference.
You have a whole bunch of guys who love getting hurt. And the guys that normally don't get hurt are already hurt. Or not playing for no apparent reason.
Apparently this James thing, I'm not sure if it was... Apparently, was the cause of this injury a bad screw from some shitty
That's what I read, that a screw that wasn't screwed in all the way, yeah.
He's got a screw loose. He has the Tim problem.
Listen, here's the thing, right? I mean, you look at Rivers compared to guys like Breeze and Rodgers and, all these quarterbacks who got their one Super Bowl, or Eli with two, but they got there a couple of years at the top, MVP caliber years. Phillip hasn't had his yet. He's due. A quarterback of his skill, a Hall of Famer deserves that 1 year. He's like Dirk Nowitzki before winning a championship.
That's the reason.
He deserves one. And
it's not a Disney movie.
Well, can you actually hear him, or you just?
No, I can't. You just told me he's due, and
he's due. He said that Phillip Rivers is like Dirk Nowitzki
before the championship.
I get it. Like sometimes it happens. There's just as many examples you could probably make where it didn't happen.
Yeah, there's far more.
Yeah, so I'm not buying that. I'm buying that this is an incredibly talented team if they can click. We're always seem to be haunted early in the year. I love Mike. I'll say you will never hear the name Octavia from me this season. Denzel Washington, more like
until he chooses to kick that 49-yard.
That's a man.
Until he kicks that 49-yard field goal from 4th and 1 against the Patriots.
I don't know what he's saying.
Oh, yeah, he still has his thing out. Yeah, he's not a great coach.
No, I think he's an outstanding coach.
Not an outstanding coach.
So how good are we as a team?
I'm taking the under.
But how do we keep? How has he?
You have high-end talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and when Bosa came back last year. You guys can mitigate an injury. Like James going down, you'll be fine. The Chargers will be fine on defense. What if someone else goes out? Now you're already behind the 8 ball with injuries to very key spots. You have an excellent player on defense. He's already out. Probably the best part of your offensive line, and you need to protect Phillip Rivers. We've seen this. When he starts getting the happy feet and has to move side to side, it becomes pick city. And with Tim saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, they might win 3 games.
How's the kicking game?
We not only have a money kicker, we have the most handsome kicker in the league.
Whatever happened to Siwoo Kim when he was your kicker?
Shut up. No, Money Badger, this guy, Michael Badgley, this guy, if you're still one of like the 7 pools out there, mine included, that use kickers in fantasy, our offense is so good. We have a fantasy worthy kicker now.
So when they choose to kick from 4th and 1 from the
he'll make it, unfortunately. Yeah,
you'll be okay with it. Now.
Our team is good. Our roster is great. Our team is good. The only competition going on is like at punter.
You're under curse, my friend. The coin and I agree. Under 9.5 wins for the Los Angeles Chargers. Oakland Raiders.
It's
5.5.
a real fucking problem, Tim. Thanks a lot, man.
This is no surprise. I've been on them for months.
And months of shit's been going wrong.
I wouldn't worry about it. I think things are about to turn around. What's the worst that could happen?
I don't even want to check Twitter to see what's happened in the last 5 seconds. The Raiders. Hard Knocks has owned the Raiders. 5.5 wins. It does seem kind of low. You have to bet minus 160 to bet the over on the Raiders. 6-1 to make the playoffs. 12-1 to win the division. 33-1 to win the conference. 66-1 to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to talk about this with Sealy on a show that's already come out, but I'm recording after this one. Feel like Antonio Brown might be like the steal of fantasy. That this is just, he might be getting like back end points on Hard Knocks or something, but he is just creating drama, I think, for TV's sake.
Do people actually still watch Hard Knocks?
I don't know. I don't.
The
but
show, I watched it like 14 years ago. The show, and I guess this Brown thing's a different animal, so maybe he's getting back end points. The show hasn't changed. Literally.
Well,
like
that's
it's the
I
exact
think that's
same
Tim's favorite
show.
part about Hard Knocks is that it doesn't change on him. He can just tune into Hard Knocks, and that's how it is.
It's like the video game Madden. Like they haven't been like you can't make like the show. Like, the game hasn't been improved in 15 years. You can't do anything. The graphics look a little better, but the gameplay is sort of unchangeable. I don't know. The only thing that makes me afraid to say like bet the under is it just seems like Vegas. Like now they're sort of a team that the world is like picking on, and the world.
I mean,
assumes,
people have hammered this over on 5.5.
Well, so you probably get plus 140 to bet the under. They will.
I think it's plus. I think the site that I took this from is charging 30 cents a vig. So,
Yeah.
So plus 130. To
Sure.
bet the under.
I don't know. They won't beat the Chargers at all. That's all I can assure you. And they won't beat the Chiefs. So you can work backwards from that. I don't believe in John Gruden. I think his act was totally thin on, there's 53 guys on the team. I think there's like 7 of them that like buy into the shtick, and everyone else like looks right through it. And I'll say the exact same thing about Antonio Brown. There's like 7 guys on the team that think he's cool and like respect him and his money, and the rest of the roster doesn't give a flying shit about the guy.
They might when it just turns out that he's still the best receiver in football.
He might, but this is where it's going to get ugly there.
I agree.
No, let me tell you.
If it starts going wrong early, it can get out of control bad. But if
Yes.
it goes okay early, I think they could be
Yes.
okay.
Not only will it get out of control
Carr could
bad,
be
but
bad.
I'll tell you the main reason it gets out of control bad. Because the city's gone. When it's a gong show and you're leaving town and everyone's angry, like the city of Oakland has abandoned these guys. They would show up if the team was good, but when the team is horrible, it will be abandonment times 100. And when they start like 1-4 and receiver goes AWOL again, that's my biggest concern.
They have your boy Tyrell the Gazelle now.
He's a good player.
They have another receiver, Hunter Renfro, who's
Like
not,
him, who's like a little like a nerd.
Yeah,
right?
he looks like he should be on
Looks like Gary.
an audio only podcast.
I don't mean to. Okay, I take back that Garian comment after you said that.
He just looks like a dude who lives in his mom's basement.
Yeah. It just looks like a dude. Not like a dude's dude, just a dude.
Yeah, put it this way. When he gets cut from the Raiders, he's not going to pop up on Bachelor in Paradise like Clay Harbor, who is a weird-looking guy. Huge neck. So, Tim, you like the over on the Raiders, correct?
Yeah, I do for a lot of the reasons you were saying. I think they're a little bit undervalued by Vegas. They still have some good players. I think Gruden being there for a whole other year and establishing what he's got there is helpful. I don't think they're in a tough spot being in a division with the Chiefs and the Chargers, but I think they're leaps and bounds better than the Broncos, for example. I think they have some talent, and they can certainly win some games this year. It's like they play, they play the Broncos and the Vikings pretty early in the schedule. I think those are wins they can put together pretty quickly. They play, they don't play a tough schedule. So, I mean, I think they're going to take teams like the Jets and the Bengals in the middle of the year. So there are wins there. And so if I give them 2 wins against the Broncos, a couple in the middle there, I only need to get 2 more. I can get that. So I don't know. With relative comfort, I think they go over 5.5, but I would cap them at 8. But I know I've read some smart people who think the Raiders could be like the real dark horse, make the playoff sort of team. And you know what? I got to say, I wouldn't be shocked. I think still Carr is a better than not quarterback, and they do have some pieces there. If everything goes right, that would be cool, but I just don't see that.
Okay, 2 things to respond to this. 1, Tim once said that Derek Carr was going to win MVP and that the Raiders were going to the Super Bowl. That week, after he said that on the show, he broke his leg and he sucked ever since. After that, he just said he's talked to some sharp people who like the Raiders. Are you talking about the Raiders fan in our group chat?
No, actually, the Raiders fan in our group chat is far more is pretty reserved.
Yeah, because he knows his team isn't very good. I'm going to take.
I can't believe
He's picking the Chargers.
No, yeah, and you tell me like it's all about to get worse because now it's official. This is the official pick.
Last year,
for
I
the
picked
season.
the Rams and Chiefs, and the Rams.
So it's
made
not
the
going to
Super
happen
Bowl,
again.
And the Chiefs came within a whisker of making the Super Bowl. So
So what are the chances you're right again?
I think I'm due for some years in a row being right.
I pray to God you are, Tim. I hope we can laugh. I hope.
Remember, I
hope you can be begging for Twitter Menchies praising your correctness as
Listen,
I am in a confetti parade in Miami.
I'm about as geographically far from Southern California as you can get in North America, and I can't affect what is going on there. I don't have any powers.
Raiders under.
Raiders under for me as well. Do you want to know some news?
Shut up. No one's messaging me.
It's because it's not directly Chargers related. Andrew Luck will start week 1.
Oh, okay, good for him.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, that wouldn't have.
Philip Rivers
Really,
dead.
you couldn't tell by the look in his eyes that he mess with you.
No, it's that time of day. It's the time of day. Like practice has ended a few hours ago. Like guys are doing media meets. Like
Antonio Brown showed up to practice.
Yeah.
Big news. Denver Broncos.
Ooh, trash.
I'm taking over 7.5. I'll give them 8 and 8.
Could
I
have
got.
the first, the second, or third pick.
I think their defense is still too good for that.
a Fangio calling the plays.
If there's one thing the Broncos do well, it's beat the shit out of really bad teams.
Okay, I can kind of agree with that. The Broncos have something that can make them ultra competitive.
Their
And-
home field advantage.
Well, that as well, but the pass rush in the secondary is still like in the elite groupings in the league, in my opinion.
yeah, and like the ankle sprain for Drew Lock is
Now-
serious. Maybe he ends up coming in.
I am looking.
Flacco's not good.
I am excited. If there's a game or an opponent I am excited to play this year, it is the Denver Broncos.
I don't know if that offensive line doesn't hold up. I mean, Von Miller just might be eating Philip Rivers.
Well, then it'll be a game of lunch because I will eat too.
Listen to these first 8 games. At the Raiders, they'll be underdogs anyway. Bears, Packers, Jaguars, Chargers, Titans, Chiefs, Colts, Browns. They're going to win 2 games in that stretch? Like,
how many of those are at home? They'll sneak out one of these wins at home against one of those good teams.
Yeah, probably. I'm going to say under. I'm not seeing this team at 500.
Just looking at that slate, I just don't see how you can count to 8 there for wins. So
And they have
think
receiver problems. They do have a running back that can
no
go to
good.
the house. Geez, Pat brings up good points. They have an O-line and a running back, and they have a pass rush. That's
But a
enough for
very
me to
tough
like think with a good home field advantage. That's enough for me to think you get to 8.
Yeah, good defense can win you some games, especially what they do well. Like you said, they get to the passer and they have a good secondary.
But
That's
you have the Chiefs and Chargers going over. You're really going to have 3 teams going.
I don't have the Chargers going over. I have them
No,
going
but if
under.
Jeff thinks they're going to get to 8 or 9, like that's
No,
a
I
playoff.
know. I'm making the case for it. I don't believe it because I just think they have some star-heavy spots. But this team is as thin as I don't know. I was trying to make like a weight reference, but
So you're
they're thin. They're thin.
You're taking the under?
Yeah, I'll take.
They're the
it.
anorexic or potentially bulimic Denver Broncos. Or maybe they're just on keto and they're just looking great, but don't have the energy that they
I
used
like
to.
the coach though. We'll see. Fangio.
Big Dick Vic.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Tim's not on him. He's on Vic Hovland. He's not on Vic Fangio.
Hovland is so good. I'm so glad I picked the best of those 3 golfers.
You know that he might not even get his PGA Tour card for next year?
I pray. He
Well,
gets it.
He hasn't earned it yet. I mean, he won. He did well in tournaments that he only got in because he was an amateur. Like those shouldn't count.
Yeah, but all the guys that you compared him to all made the FedEx Cup playoffs and earned their tour cards. In fact, they both won.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not concerned in the least. Hovland is by far the better of the 3. He'll be fine. You guys don't like him.
I do like him.
I
I,
don't
bet,
like-
I bet on him this week
I
to win.
literally, I would show you how much money I bet on him to win this thing in
just trying
Boise,
to antagonize you by saying
and you will never make that comment again.
But
I
you've
promise.
cursed this poor guy that he might not even have a professional career at this point. He might have to go play on the Nordic tour.
he's going to have a huge role on the Ryder Cup team next year when Europe wins.
Could he even qualify for the Ryder Cup if he's not on the
Who he
PGA
picked?
Tour?
Yeah, why? You could be European too. They have their own thing.
No, he's gonna be playing on the web, man.
Oh, well, captains can take anybody. I assume.
I don't think you'd take some guy playing on the Corn Ferry Tour if it came down to it.
No, but if he got like exemptions and he did awesome, he would
Sure.
like win. He'd
Listen,
win
I
on
have
an
I have no doubt that his career is going to
You're
turn
telling
out
me
fine.
like he wouldn't get invited to John Deere if he was on the Corn Ferry Tour and like win it? So yeah, he'd be fine.
Maybe.
No.
So Broncos over for me and the coin under for you.
I'm pot committed on his 10-1 Corn Ferry odds until he wins, and if he takes too long, I'll actually be in the negative with actually winning. Because they're not small plays.
Can we just have him and Stenson win this week? Then we're all rich.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, under Broncos. So yeah, I guess we got to pick a division winner, right?
I'll take the Chiefs.
I'll take the Bolts. Come on.
I'll give you the Los Angeles Clippers for the division.
Okay, yeah, third. I like it. We're Clipper guys. Phil's a Clipper guy. We're a Clippers team, and they seem to have done a good offseason. So we're this ugly stepchild brethren. Kawhi's a San Diego guy, so he's on our team.
Does that necessarily mean he likes the Chargers?
Yeah, it does.
Because it seemed like most people in San Diego were very ambivalent about the Chargers. That's why
No.
they never went to the games.
No, they went to the games.
Did they? Then
Yeah,
why'd
they
they
did.
move?
Because my owner was in a club where every single person got something and he didn't, and he had to go find his.
And Jack Murphy was old as the hills.
That was the sad reality of it. The only guys that didn't get it for substantially almost free is the one guy he teamed up with who said, like, my wife owns Walmart and I'm just going to build a palace.
Well, Jerry built his out of his own pocket too.
I guarantee you there's public funding in that. Guaranteed.
I don't think that's
Entirely,
the
whether the land or so. Okay, fine. So those are the examples. There are very couple small examples.
Also, it is ludicrous for a city to give a team money.
Insane.
It's the stupidest thing a city
And
can
now I think a couple years later, when these like smaller, not like what they're playing in now, this like
do.
dumpster
It's something
soccer.
all live venues need to get smaller across every sport.
So, but like very small,
Except
like
for college stadiums,
chic,
I guess.
like not like 80,000, like a
Yeah,
like a smaller.
We'll see like a Camden Yards of football.
Watch what Buffalo does. Watch what happens there.
I mean, the entire town might just like go bankrupt or something.
Fine, but I'm saying they're not. When they redo the stadium, it's not going to be one of these like palaces. It's going to be like a very no frills, small, effective, nice luxury boxes where they can make some of that auxiliary. But
I think that if you could like the BMO field in Toronto where they actually play the MLS games, you could build us like a double the size version of that for an NFL
That's what the
stadium.
Chargers are playing in now.
Yeah, but that's built as a soccer stadium. The angles have to be different for soccer versus football. The field needs to be different. Like you need to construct the stadium in mind for it to be football.
oh my god! And now freaking San Diego's built like they're doing something for the they got the MLS and they're building them. It's so I'm repulsed actually, but I'll be back there. I'm going to that Viking game at Christmas, so I'll be back. I love it.
All right, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo
We
experience.
didn't pick AFC Championship game.
Oh yeah, that's AFC Championship game. Tim.
Skip him.
Chargers over Jaguars.
Okay. Geoff.
Chargers over Chiefs.
I'll go.
That means I don't hate you, Chiefs. I'm literally like by default I have to pick me, but like think about where I've put you and what that means in a reality.
I'll go rematch. Kansas City, New England.
You're probably right.
I'm usually the one
probably
who makes
right.
like the really stupid pick.
That's
when it comes to
that
it.
one
I'm just gonna
actually-
play the
yeah.
chalk this time
Yeah,
around.
that one actually seems like we're gonna be there on repeat.
When you when you look at like the old school like in the newspaper or like open up Sports Illustrated and like everyone picked this team to win the division, that's gonna be the AFC Championship that most people have.
Yes, especially if the guys have to file and there's these Andrew Luck question marks.
Yeah, the
I
Colts.
think you're underestimating how many people are going to put Cleveland in there on those people.
I don't think that you are. Like, your hatred for the Browns supersedes how much people love the Browns
I
in
agree.
terms of thinking like they're going to be awesome. People are just excited for the Browns.
And
They don't
they're
necessarily think they're
yes.
going to be good. They're just excited
They're
to watch
excited
them.
for if that story of the team that never won becomes amazing, and we're all equally excited if it turns into like a weekly freaking dumpster fire. What would be boring is if they go like 7 and
8
9,
and 8,
yeah.
and they run the ball 70%
That'd
of
be
the time.
boring. They're like,
Well, at least they have
they made a
that
little bit,
bridge.
like all their young players made a little bit of progress. That would be boring. Like you want them to like blast
Or
off
flame out.
or freaking
Yeah.
crash. Okay, no disrespect to hardcore Brown fans. We're happy and you got everything going, but this is just
I'm
my
not.
middle ground scenario.
Tim's still triggered that that they beat the Jets, the amazing Jets. You know the Jets should have been 13-3 last year if the league didn't screw them.
There were injuries.
That's why they weren't good last year, Geoff, because of injuries. Tim called for their coach to be fired every single week after they lost. But after they won,
right.
top 5 coach.
I intend to give Gase a lot more rope.
Than Bowles?
Yes.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I'm not going to lie to you. Geoff Fienberg, thank you for being on the show. You can follow Geoff on Twitter.
I'm so demoralized.
You should be. Do you know who's to blame for all of that?
Do you know it's not even the Super Bowl pick of him making it? It's the MVP pick. Because I might like the man more than the team. I'm worried for the safety of the kids.
It's not good. You should probably apologize to Geoff. Tim Andergust!
Tim Andergust.
That is not my name. No, listen, I said at the start of the year, but back in the schedule show, I really like this Chargers team. I am a man of conviction, and I stuck with them.
Who gets hurt this week? Like Hunter Henry blows.
I was gonna say
someone I love.
Hunter Henry seems like the most logical person to blow his knee again.
Just someone
or Bosa, one of the two.
Oh,
just
because
they're injury prone to begin with. But is Denzel Perriman hurt yet? I assume he is.
Oh, stop! No, we need him.
But he's definitely going to be hurt for at least 6 games at some point.
You're like Thomas Davis, who never missed games in Carolina, is going to come here and tear a hamstring
you get pulled over for a DUI and somehow the league throws 10 games at him.
He's
or something.
a man of the year. Oh my God, that
you
patch
know,
on my powders.
You know what? There's a lot of men of the year who it turns out they weren't real great dudes, Geoff.
I know, but that's oh my God, that patch on my jersey. You people watch for it. It melts me. He didn't win it as on my team, but still.
Do you think there's a chance we could start a Twitter account for The Coin and get it to have more followers than Tim?
It probably is happening now.
I think we should do that. Tim, would you be triggered if the bronze medalists of this show, maybe the secret, when Emmy nominations come around for this show, Geoff is sort of like the Jeremy Piven of the show as it pertains to Entourage, that he's always getting nominated year after year after year. But it's when the final season of the show, or the show is hitting its stride, or some bigger show didn't, it went off the air and there's just a few more holes. You're not getting the nomination, Tim. It's going to be The Coin.
Stupid coin.
Anyway, that will do it. I told you how you can get into the draws for 20 DK bucks. I told you by using the promo code THEPME at dailyroto.com. It saves yourself 10% off, and sign up for the Super 7 Spread Picks competition at gupscorner.com. All right? Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Stick around Monday. I got a full DraftKings preview. And on Tuesday, the Custy Awards, the single best show of the year. So you're going to want to tune into that UFC on the following Wednesday. Then I will be back from my vacation. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy yourselves. And I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!